You're on camera. Say something.
Last night and night before, there was 3 women walking down the street that way. I saw them. I said, hey, you 3 women, why are y'all walking down the street that way? There's nothing down there. And they flew away. I said, oh, them was some birds.
Look at the world, spinning so blind. He cracked the code, wired the grind. Told you what's next, mapped the design. Late to the game, he's ahead of your time. Eyes wide shut while he saw through the smoke. Y'all laughed it off, but the guy's no joke. Truth hit hard, left the doubters broke. Every call he made is the master stroke. Called it again. Are you listening? He's got the spark, yeah, he's glistening. Future's on lock, man, he's blistering. Told you what's coming, now it's christening. Called it again. Are you missing it? Pinpoint shot, every hit legit. World's in his hand, man, he's twisting it. Bow to the king, he's the infinite. Called it. Yo, rewind the tape. Forecast so clean it escapes the hate. This ain't no luck, this is fate. Create while you hesitate. He dominates.
Could be Trump. Yeah. Trump. Oh yeah. Trump. 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 Could be Trump. Yeah. Trump. Oh yeah. Trump.
I was not very steeped in the comics.
I didn't read any comics or do any research.
I wasn't familiar with the comics. I wasn't familiar with the movies.
We didn't lean into a whole lot of the history of the comic books.
Yeah, candidly, we were not enormous comic fans.
I wasn't super into superhero comics when I was a kid. I read a lot of like indie press stuff.
First thing I was told is don't read the comics.
Really?
As a creator, they put you in a bubble. They don't let you talk about any of the other projects, right?
You know, they're up for anything.
We ultimately decided to redefine it for the series and thought that it worked better for the story that we're trying to tell.
Did you ever read you've never read the comic?
When the DVD comes out, I'm going to read a Thor comic book and just see where we went wrong.
Bang, bang, samurai hero, dodging swords with his outlaw flow. Bang, bang, samurai hero, no respect to show, no fate to bestow. Bang, bang, samurai hero, lights glow. Bang, bang, samurai hero. Yasuke West, just watch him go. Watch him go. From a land across the sea, he came with a dream. Sengoku chaos, but he's got a new scheme. No bow, no blade, just a P226. A samurai, no, he's a gunfighting prick. Honor is dead when the bullets fly. He claims he's a savior, but we all ask why. On a bicycle, Yasuke the wall riding legend. Tequila Clan stealing the credits. Bang, bang, samurai hero, dodging swords with his outlaw flow. Bang, bang, samurai hero, no respect to show, no fate to bestow. Bang, bang, samurai hero, stealing wheels while the firelights glow. Bang, bang, samurai hero, Yasuke West, just watch him go. Watch him go. Looks like the leaks were right. All that talk, but they got no bite. They swore they were building something tight. Now the world sees through your hype. Looks like the leaks were right. All that talk, but they got no bite. They swore they were building something tight. Now the world sees through your hype. Looks like the leaks were right.
Mama, we must run. The Wendigo Yakuza are here.
We'll be okay. We're not alone.
Where did we park the van?
Cider took it to deliver those flowers.
You all don't stand a chance.
Underneath the moon's cold light, whispers linger in the night. Shadows dance with subtle grace. Secrets hide in every space. Velvet skies and sapphire dreams. Cities pulse, electric beams. Lonely hearts in shadowed bars. Fading tales beneath the stars. We dance in twilight's tender glow, where time moves soft and slow. Eyes meet in a silent song, in the night where we belong.
Why, yes, that is Anakin Skywalker as drawn by Akira Toriyama. Here to help me make sense of what we're looking at is the lovely Miss Nerdigans.
Hello, Black Shirt Army, and say hello, kitties. Little fussy kitty here. But yes, that is art drawn by Akira Toriyama, and it's crazy because we are celebrating Toriyama's death, which was last week, but this week is interesting because of Chrono Trigger's 30th anniversary, and coming up, there is a collaboration between Dragon Quest Walk and Dragon Ball. And I think this is like the first time that this has ever happened too.
Dragon Crest Walk?
Dragon Quest Walk, yeah.
Like WOK? Like the pot?
Yeah, WALK. You know, the
Oh,
app.
walk. Oh, yeah, like you just okay. I was like, why are they cooking? It's a wholly different franchise.
Yeah.
Very
But yeah,
bizarre.
I think it's the first time that's ever happened between the franchises.
Officially, anyway, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
There was always talk that Tapion was just Chrono.
Yeah.
So, but we do have quite a loaded chat tonight. Welcome aboard, everybody. We have RJ McReady through the gate here. He says, screw Ubisoft and Neil Druckmann. Yeah, that guy's a piece of work right there. Man, that was quite a telling interview there, especially with the guy that sounded like Price from Call of Duty there. Mission failed. We'll get him next time. That guy. Really weird. We have Sakura Mita here saying R.I.P. Kevin Conroy.
Oh,
And,
Kevin
yeah.
Conroy's voice is being used in Netflix's Devil May Cry, apparently.
Yep. And you know that Robin Williams said you can't reuse my stuff. Remember that? He put that in his will. You can't touch my stuff. And guess what? He's not being post death added to anything. Isn't that fun? And you're gonna find more of that going forward. The Hollywood stars saying that once I'm not alive, you can't use me. You know, they've got to now. And we do have Richard here, and he says, "Yo, welcome aboard, man." We got Rocky here. He says, "Hey, everyone." And Rocky also brings up we have a Claymore live action adaptation. We're gonna talk about that in a minute here too. So brace yourselves. They're gonna go straight to live action from manga. I'm not really sure this one's been done before either, but oh wait.
Oh, in terms of well, the kind of thing that Claymore's getting, it's something that has needed to have in terms of getting a reboot anime adaptation. I mean, Tokyo Ghoul's had to do it.
I'm talking about like manga to live action.
Yeah. Well, not straight to live action, but like a series that
Yeah.
needed like a reboot anime adaptation or sequel anime adaptation, but instead you got a live action. Yeah, Bleach has had that, and Tokyo Ghoul has had that, and Kingdom technically had it too, even though seasons 1 and 2 really needed to be rebooted because that CGI was ass. But Kingdom still is going anime wise, and the live action adaptations for Kingdom, Bleach, and Tokyo Ghoul are actually pretty good. So it's not, and they weren't Western anime or live action adaptations either. So there is that.
Well, and we also have Ravul Arvita here, member of the channel, by the way. Thank you very much for being a member of the channel. We have YouTube me. Morning. I'm on nights again, so I can visit more often. Well, thanks. Glad to have you here. Glad to have you here. And we have Hey, it's me and HD saying, shouldn't they started this and released it this year? I'm not sure which one.
Oh, are you talking about Chrono Trigger?
Yeah. Maybe? I don't know. We'll have to let me know in chat what you're talking about, pal. But
for Chrono Trigger, something that I really was hoping they would have started the moment that Toriyama's death was the news of it was released, was releasing a art book of Toriyama's works. And that's what I'm hoping is going to be the case with this. I know Evangelion is releasing art books for its anniversary. So I'm hoping that Chrono Trigger is going to follow the same path, because I know a lot of people would love to have a book of Toriyama's art. So we'll have to wait and see in regards to that. I'm guessing like if it's going to go along the same path of like Gundam's anniversary and to an extent Evangelion, there's probably going to be some soundtracks released, like collector's edition soundtracks that does feature some art.
It would be really cool to get. Now, this isn't the hipster in me. This is just the antique appreciator. If they did a gold vinyl disc, styled to look like the #1 Dragon Ball.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Well, so you have the of course the steady, the thing that goes up through the record would come up through the center of the star, but you'd have the record itself would look like a giant Dragon Ball, like the Dragon Ball did for Goku when he was a little kid.
I think they have like a special edition Dragon Ball vinyl. I can't remember, but I know there's like, I swear I've seen
Oh wait,
like
no, the Namekian Dragon Balls were enormous. That's right, the giant, the big Namekian balls. It gets funny because they don't have genitals.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knew demons puked up eggs? How about that, huh?
It don't surprise me. Demons can do a lot of things. But yeah, I'm guessing there'll probably be like an orchestral concert or something like that.
Of course.
They'll probably do like, I know they already released a mobile version of the game. They'll probably do like a limited edition release of the game for like hopefully for the Switch 2 and for Switch, something like that. That's my best guess off the top of my head. Hopefully, if they do that, they'll do like a really cool collector's edition. If they're smart, they will.
Smart. I don't know. There's a lot of what the problem is Square Enix is involved with this, and Square Enix is not on the ups. That's for sure. But we do have some cultural news from Japan. Asahi, one of the largest beverage makers in Japan, has signed a $35 million investment deal in the United States. So look forward to seeing some Asahi brand beer in your local coolers, perhaps more. I don't know if Asahi is behind the distribution of the fizzy drink that has the marble in the neck of the bottle. Remember that?
Yeah, I've had Asahi beer. It's actually pretty good.
Oh, okay. I can't.
But there's also on the negative side of things, the tariffs that are happening, the steel tariff specifically, it is affecting Japan too. So,
but specifically because Japan wanted to buy up American steel producers, and Trump was very offended by that, and so he's definitely putting the screws to them over steel. But again, they announced a $100 trillion investment deal with us, and now this. So I can't. They brought him a golden helmet. I mean, Ashiba really meant some business there, bringing him the gold helmet. It's a little much, in my opinion, but I get it. I get why he did it. I just feel like it's a little too much paying tribute to the king. A little too much of that. I do hope that Trump wears it, so we get Shogun Trump. You know, like he's riding around in his Tesla wearing his Shogun helmet. That'd be great. That's like peak first world America right there. You can only do that in Dubai. You know, he's doing donuts in the White House lawn, wearing his Shogun helmet and in the big red Tesla. It's gonna be great. But yeah, we do have RJ McReady here who says no steel on steel. Exactly. Yeah, and that's what it was. Is that it was more about blocking Japan from buying up the steel because, believe it or not, we don't use it here. We don't produce that stuff anymore. We outsourced all the production of most of that stuff. I mean, even the car makers here don't really deal with it. A lot of it's aluminum. So steel manufacturers are just kind of on standby, you know? And so Japan wants to buy them up and put them to work because they still want to build that giant pyramid thing. Remember that? You remember that, Nerdigans? That giant pyramid thing that they wanted to build a few years ago?
Oh, yeah.
The crazy Tokyo pyramid.
Oh, God. Yeah,
they still want to build that. They still want to build that. The Shimizu Megacity Pyramid. It was supposed to house 1 million people. You remember? This was just crazy. This was a teeny tiny little picture. Thanks, Google. Really appreciate it. Yeah, there. Maybe.
It looks like the Louvre in France. That's what it kind of gives.
Yeah, well, it's probably based off of it, if not just kind of like, but that's to scale. That's not AI, that's to scale, okay? So you look down, look over here, okay? That's to scale. Look at that. That is to scale, all right? So here's the bunch of towers right here. Here's a bunch of buildings. This is a highway, okay? Now look at this thing. I don't even think you'll be, if you live in down here, I don't think you'll be able to see the sun at noontime.
Nope.
It'll be completely blocking out this whole sector of Japan, of the city, just completely. Fuck you. You can't see the sun anymore.
Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, that's what the thing was, is they still want to build that. So they can, this is the crazy thing with Japan that separates them from China and separates them from Korea. Is that China's mega projects are usually designed by Europeans who just can't get approval for it in the West because they're crazy. These are crazy designs that are going to fall over and kill people. And then the Japanese are like, no, No, what would really work is a giant pyramid.
Hey, they're building giant Gundams. I mean,
well, that would be great because, like, you and I both know that this thing somehow will crack open and a giant robot will be in the middle of it.
Oh my god, I could totally see it. Like this. How much you would have bet? Like the Chinese are thinking, oh my god, they're probably hiding a Gundam in there, and they're not gonna. So we can't go fuck with Japan.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna hide a giant robot, that would be the giant pyramid would be where I would hide it. You know, no one will expect the giant robot in the in the giant pyramid. Of course not. That would be ridiculous.
Hey, I mean, the pyramids of Giza probably have some giant robot up in there.
Why isn't that an anime? Or is that the 5-star stories? I don't know. I don't remember. So make that an anime. Come on, guys. Yeah. I can't read kanji, so there's this user who has a kanji name that's saying we are dreamers. It is true. The Japanese definitely dare America to do crazy things because they go doing crazy things. And this is supposed to house 1 million people. I just want to kind of put that in perspective.
It's just
they're all
creative
living
architecture, though. Like
Well,
this is
sure.
the kind of architecture that we used to see, like what in like the 2000s.
Yeah, back in Y2K when we were all going to the future in bubbles and chrome.
Yeah, that's what we used to see, but now we don't have that kind of creativity in architecture anymore because
But
people are boring.
the craziest thing about this whole thing is that all these tubes that you're seeing, all this tubular design that they're doing with this, I'll open up another. Nope, I'm not opening up Reddit. You almost got me. I'm not doing that. But so we'll open up this one. Yeah, there it is. So all of these support structures are elevators and transits of some kind, and all of these little balls are little stations.
Oh my god, this is like something straight out of like Futurama and like the Jetsons.
Yeah, it's like there's like 10-man cars that are constantly running through each and every one of these shafts all the time into these ball stations. And that was the nuttiest thing to me is that at any point you could just enter and just boom, you it's there and you're just going anywhere in this pyramid. Like the sideways elevators from the sideways streetcars from Big O. Remember that? They were deliberately built to look like a staircase. The car itself was built to look like a staircase.
Like
That's the kind of cars that were going in this. Yeah.
It's crazy. Japan wants to bring the future now, and like everyone else is so behind.
They've been doing it since the 80s.
Yep.
You know, you take a look at any city in China, and it looks like it's straight out of one of those cyberpunk animes from the late 80s, early 90s.
But it's still apocalyptic in a way, considering. Like China is literally one of those post-apocalyptic cyberpunk animes at this point.
Definitely.
It literally is, considering how
Dystopian.
tyrannical it is.
Absolutely dystopian.
Yeah, right, kitties.
So, in light of all that, right, in light of all that, we do have some news about Pokemon. And Niantic's Games has been bought up by the Monopoly maker, Scopely, and Scopely, maybe? Scopely. But for $3.5 billion, by the way. That's how much Pokemon Go sold for after they chunked up your characters without your permission.
And keep in mind, Niantic is in Washington State, which is like way more liberal than California is. Because I know people will be like talking California. Nah, see, like this was outside of Seattle where Niantic is. That is extremely liberal. They are beyond progressive. These people are psycho. That is where like Chop was. And well, Chop was in Seattle, but you know what I mean.
Our friend here with the Japanese kanji in his screen name says, how many years ago was it the Chinese TV station believed that the Japanese self-defense force had a Gundam? I think it was when they revealed the Karatas. I think this is when the Chinese believed that this was actually a military vehicle. I think that's the Karatas that they thought, and they called it a Gundam because they're Chinese, you know, and they just didn't have another word for giant robot from Japan. So I think that's what we're talking about. It could have been when they started building the Yokohama statue as well. But then again, it could have been straight up just the Chinese looking at a VR helmet and deciding that's a Gundam head. And, you know, who knows? But yeah, I fully expect that the Chinese wolf warriors there decided that Japan was hiding their Gundam somewhere. See,
They're
this
gonna
is
try and use
ultimately
that as an excuse to invade Japan at some point because they'll
well,
want to
this is
try
the
to.
fun thing. What if they're right and all the statues are functional?
I really would love to see that those statues be functional and see Japan use them to like fight off the communist government. That would just be so freaking
So
cool.
the citizens of Japan don't want to change their constitution to allow for a standing army. Okay, that's been a big problem. Abe's tripped over it, and Shiba now is tripping over it. And what better way to defend the country than to make the Gundam statues real? Right? Then you don't have to worry about a standing army. You have
You have
beam
Gundams.
rifles. You're right, you have Gundam. You don't even have to fire the beam rifle. You just have to aim it at the Chinese forces. They're not going to 50-50 that. They saw Gundam Wing. They know what happened to Axis. They know what happened to Libra. They know what happened. They remember. Just play the boy who killed aristocracy, and that'll send them for the hills. But from good news to bad news, Claymore is headed for a live-action adaptation through CBS Studios, the people who brought us Star Trek: Sexually Transmitted Disease.
Oh god. I'm not happy about this. Like I've seen some people were like happy that Claymore's getting a live action adaptation. I was like, no, 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 no. It needs a first of all, it needs a reboot anime that actually adapts the manga because the anime, as beautiful as it did look, it did not adapt the manga properly. It just did not do that. The other thing is if this was a live action adaptation done through like a Japanese production, like say with Shinsuke Sato's production team, you know, the people that do Kingdom or Golden Kamuy, like if it was them, I'd be like, okay, or Bleach, because Shinsuke Sato is the director of Bleach. If you were telling me that was the team that was doing it, I'd be like, okay, I see where you're going with this. I can maybe get behind it. But no, you're doing it through CBS, which is Western. I'm not getting behind this at all. I don't care if this person, well, it's nice that the person here is a manga fan. That's a plus. But they got no experience doing a live action adaptation, especially a supernatural live action adaptation. Heroes is one thing. Claymore is a completely different story.
Well, I don't know much about Claymore. I didn't get into it. It just kind of went over my head. When I see knight sword things, it just doesn't capture me. I'm like one of those people that's anti isekai, I guess. I see
It's not an
fantasy
isekai
elements and
series.
I just you know. But
Yeah, it's not an isekai series though.
no, I know. It's just what I'm saying is like the fantasy end of it is just when I see it, I'm just like, I'm all set, you know. So I didn't get into Claymore. It's nothing to do with it. It just had to deal with the fact that the character on the cover was holding a sword and wearing armor, and I was like, I don't need that. And that's my preference. So I don't know much about this whatsoever. The only thing I know about Claymore 100% is that there's been a recent debate over female representation in it because the women are mistaken for property, I believe, here in the West because of how the term Claymore is applied to them. I think that was the most recent controversy with it.
Are you serious? That is so freaking stupid.
Yeah, there's a guy trying to explain it in a live stream a few weeks ago when I tuned into his live stream about Gate, and he was explaining that intermingled with this was how Claymore had women that were scantily clad and exploited and treated like property. And so expect that to be a topic of conversation here. And you can bet that the lead character is definitely going to be confronted by his female Claymore, who explains to him that women are superior and that's why they're the only ones that can wield this power. So it will have nothing to do with the game, with the manga's original setting or whatever. It's CBS, for God's sakes. You know what they're gonna do. They're gonna Michael Burnham the main character, the main female.
Yeah, it's even though I do like Burn Notice, Burn Notice is not appropriate here.
Now I have to ask, our friend here with the Japanese kanji in their screen name,
Yeah.
he says, I was surprised high school libraries have Claymore. Now, is this high school in Japan? Because again, like the cultures are very different. So Claymore, again, might be something a little more acceptable for under 18, whereas over here in the US, it's a bit of a leap to try and get manga into school libraries to begin
If
with.
it's in the US, I would not the US if it's in the US, that's a whole different story. I would actually not be surprised, and I'd
Oh
actually
wow, it's in the US. Okay. Got
Yeah.
me. Wow. Wow.
Claymore, yeah,
From
I
Florida or
wouldn't be
something?
surprised.
Wow.
I'm kind of surprised the parents, the puritanical parents haven't taken it out yet.
Maybe they think it's cool
They
because
have been
it's
on
not
a
talking about
warpath.
cutting off genitalia, huh? You know?
Well, we saw
You got a
that,
choice, right? You got a choice, right, Nerdigans? You get which way, Western man? You get a book here that teaches kids how to make love to adults, or you got a book with big anime titties in it. Which one are you gonna choose? You know?
Well, we saw like in what was it, Tennessee? They were taking out everything, every manga out of the school library. So that's why I'm like, they're these Puritan moms are on the warpath.
Rich, you guys had manga in school back in the 80s and 90s? What? Wow.
Yeah, I think my school district had it too, if I remember correctly. And this was in the 2000s. Yeah.
No.
90s and
I had
2000s.
to go to my local library in order to get a hold of graphic novels that weren't like the educational kind, Calvin and Hobbes kind of stuff. In order to get like the Superman stories, like Superman Dark Side was one of the ones I used to take out a lot of the library. But yeah, you couldn't find those in high school in the school libraries. That just blows my mind that they would have leisure stuff that has pictures in it anyway. It blows my mind that it's not like a technical book in a library. Very strange. Up here in the puritanical north, you see, up here where we're debating who can use a bathroom still. But it's not only one school, though. I can recall at least 3 schools. Well, apparently they got them in Colorado. So yeah, it just seems to be my end of the coast, of the continent that doesn't deal with manga and kids in high school, apparently. I don't know. It could be different now these days. I had when I was in middle school, it was very fun because like we're in Maine, all right. So I don't get a lot of this. Okay. My librarian in middle school was obsessed with Japan. She even went so far as like bringing in this huge like cultural outreach thing for a week where we ate out of bento boxes and got to have tofu and watch Japanese television shows and game shows in the library and stuff is like some kind of cultural integration thing. And that was like the closest we ever had to having something that was like Asian invasion related happen in my education.
That's really cool.
Wow. Wow. I don't have like this I need to start making these crazy notifications for when somebody sends us a gigantic super chat. Hold on. I've probably got something crazy here for that. Yeah.
You're too late, Ravage. The information's already been destroyed.
And it had to be destroyed for this massive $20 super chat from Alpha Omega. Thank you very much, by the way. I'm definitely going to be working on these celebrations for super chats. Holy cow, man. Thank you. Here it is. Here it is. He says, looking at this the wrong way, I hope its Death Note levels of bad because tourists, hoodweebs, and won't care about the source material unless it's popular. Stop wanting more new Western anime fans. They're poison. Well, you know,
They've been extremely toxic. Yes, they have.
They got McDonald's to stop. You know, did you see that? Did you see that with McDonald's?
Yes, I did. I saw that McDonald's Japan is region locking their stuff. I do not blame them. I don't blame them for that because these people are psycho.
Yeah. So, guys, if you didn't know, McDonald's Japan has begun region locking videos pertaining to VTuber stars, Hatsune Miku, Genshin Impact. I'm not sure. One of these ones. And they started 3 or 4 of them got completely region locked for anybody outside of Japan. And that was that's an indication. That's an indication of what's going to happen. There's memes going around about how if the West won't gatekeep anime, then Japan will gatekeep anime from the West. And it has to be McDonald's that comes through, right? Kirby's leading the charge here, and he says, yes, no more round eyes. Ravul Arvita, a member of the channel, says, are they going to follow the manga?
Oh, for Claymore? Probably not.
No.
I mean,
CBS.
One Piece live action, like, somewhat follows the manga. King, if we're gonna go off of that, but
yep.
I mean, it said, like, in the article, it said Masao Oka is a manga fan and likes the manga. It's like, that is just lip service to me. Like, they're just gonna do their own thing. Unless the mangaka is a part of the script writing process, I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, and it's like Alpha Omega said here with this super chat, is that they don't care about the source material unless this is popular. And so again, it's My Hero Academia's My Hero Academia is very popular with a great many of Western demographics, okay? But it's not popular because of anything really happening on screen or in the manga. It's happening because people are like spider sonaing themselves into My Hero Academia. Okay? That's why that's happened. And of course, Horikoshi's fine with it. He wants to, he's got like the reverse of America, of whatever a weeb is, whatever a Japanese person is that wants to be an American. That's what he's got. And he wants desperately to be a creator for Marvel. That's like this top dream, is to be able to have a legit Spider-Man comic under his belt, I guess. But that's what you're going to end up with Claymore, is that Westaboo. There it is. Well, yeah, MHA appeals to a lot of people to begin with, but we're talking about these fake anime fans that were mentioned up here, these tourists, hoodweebs, and antis that Alpha Omega is talking about. Are these people that are the ones that he's referring to, that kind of poison or totally poison what it is to be an anime fan these days? And because that was in response to what Spencer was talking about with the Westaboo thing. But that's what you're going to end up with Claymore here, is that they don't trust people to understand the Japanese concept as it's presented through the manga. Somehow, this becomes very popular in the West to warrant a live-action television show through the CBS Corporation, but it's not well received enough to be presented with the story that got it that popular. It's amazing how we arrive at these conclusions. I don't know how Hollywood does this. I really don't. This thing called Naruto, very popular. Screw what made it popular. let's just
we're gonna do our own thing. Like.
Right, and that's what the thing is that Alpha Omega says here. He says the Westaboo, or as the Japanese say, he's got the Western rash. Okay, that's a Western rash. That's interesting, but yeah, that's why I don't have any faith in this. Is that it's going to be adapted by people? It's not just because of CBS, but it's adapted by Hollywood, it's adapted by the West in this mentality that anime on its face does not compute to a Western audience, despite it becoming so popular here to warrant it getting a movie.
Or a TV series in this case.
Right. It blows my mind. It really does legitimately blow my mind how they come to these conclusions. And you get touches of the source material. Some of this is to do with royalties. The other part of it is that, like I was told by a guy that used to work inside of this place as a marketer, inside of one of the Canadian ones that had to deal with Card Captor back in the early 2000s, late 90s. His purview of it is these writers don't want to adapt. They want to leave their mark. They want to tell their story using someone else's visuals. And I was like, well, that makes sense. That explains the MCU. That explains all this stuff. So yeah, you got the royalties that drive this, because we don't want to pay that guy who originally created this manga. Can't do that. We already got to pay him a licensing to use the name, to use the plot points. We definitely don't want to pay him for like lifting those entirely. So we got to write our own fan fiction now. And I can't wait. There's going to be a moment where you've got the whole because Claymore again has has this focus where the female characters are the expression of the weapon. I don't know much about it, but I know that the women are the ones that do the fighting in the series. And you can bet that you're going to get some Wonder Woman style character showing up there to be all pro uterus about it. And that might be part of the story, but you can bet that that character will be way over the top about it.
Oh,
And I don't know.
you're gonna probably get some more lesbian stuff up in there too. You're gonna get people. Yeah, it's gonna be so.
Then again, they could surprise us and do what they did with One Piece and be faithful about it. I highly doubt it. Well, again, like they might say, like it worked for Netflix. Let's bring in the creator. I don't know. It's early on, so you know they could surprise us. It could be, but I highly doubt it.
I doubt it.
Everything in me says that's not going to happen. Yeah, like Richard says, press X to doubt Claymore as a live action is a good idea.
Well, like as I said, like Claymore live action could work if you have the right team doing it. I mean, it's not like other series where it's like way over the top. No, you could do a Claymore live action. You just got to have like the right team behind it that actually, I don't know, cares about the series.
Well, that's what I'm getting at, is that it's not like a deliberate Wonder Woman, like, one-to-one character, like the tiara and corset, but the style of character as she's presented these days of being misandrist, of being, like, overtly masculine in her goals and interpretations of the world. And it's in order to drive home that women are just as powerful as men, and that's, again, like, not a thing in Claymore, because quite obviously they're more powerful because they're the ones doing the fighting. But you can bet that this is going to be a conversation side of this because we can't. Michael Burnham existed in order to have that conversation.
Oh, and you know that there's going to be like the other side of the conversation where they're going to try and say that Claymore was woke from the start, and it's going to be very frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna end up with people that think that. It's bizarre because the Japanese don't think about this stuff the way that we do. They don't have this hyper fixation on these types of labels. They have different labels, don't get me wrong. Everybody has labels, but they don't have this hyper fixation on making sure that this person is here like Lego bricks, I guess. They're not trying to assemble the story like a Lego brick to make sure there's this many yellow Lego bricks and this many pink ones and this many purple ones and this many green ones. They're not trying to do that. They're just trying to put something together that entertains them. So I think they're going to misinterpret it. I think that, Spencer, you're right. They're going to really misinterpret.
Yeah, that's what I said. They're going to cry about it. Because it's a series about female wars. Yeah, they're going to. That's why I said, like, watch. They're going to say that this is woke.
Right.
And that it's been woke from the start. And it's going to be so frustrating to deal with it. I mean, we're dealing with it right now over, like, over Split Fiction. It's so
That
stupid.
was the weirdest thing. That was so weird that just... It didn't even exist on anybody's radar, and then one day, pitchforks and torches. I don't understand. I don't get that one at all.
That's what I think is going to happen with this. It is. Even though the women are pretty and all that, it's going to happen anyway because it's a female dominant series.
You say that, and now I just thought of that WWE wrestler that Jacob was showing us the other day that had been manified by Triple H. They're the one that he turned into a goth muscle mommy, as this is what they called him now. I'm getting old. I don't know what a goth muscle mommy is entirely. I have an idea. I don't keep up on the full classification. But yeah, that's going to be one of the... I'll be surprised if they don't make her one of the Claymores, or a person that, since her physique is inspired by just someone who's like, you know, so they'll take the femininity out of the character and
they'll try and make one of them trans and have a trans woman play it.
Pretty big conversation right now. You know?
I mean, we saw it in Kakiguri's Western live action. They race swap a couple of them, so it's like, Watch, there's gonna be race swaps. It's gonna be.
I don't know if it'll be Dupango's book with all female manga series, but it'll be something to the effect of what happened to Sailor Moon. Why are these women doing the fighting? You know, that kind of thing. It'll be again like we're dealing with Yorch and Trent and JDA, who are just ravenous for clicks. So anything that's going to excite people in one way or the other, they're going to jump on. And an all female anime run by CBS is definitely going to pique the interest of the usual suspects. Whether it's good or bad, it's going to get that kind of attention.
It's gonna be
It's
the
sort
same
of like
thing with Devil May Cry too. I mean, Lady looks very masculine. If you saw the trailer.
oh, I been trying to avoid it. In fact, Sakuramita brought it to our attention earlier that it was completely revealed, and so we'll take a look at it though. Apparently, Dan Southworth, another Power Ranger alumni, is not a voice actor in this, so they've done something with him, and that's a bit annoying. So anyway, if you're not familiar, Devil May Cry.
Muted, by the way, because there's Papa Roach music too. You want to make sure that the trailer.
I completely forgot that was a band for a minute there.
How did you forget that? I've seen Papa Roach live, and they're amazing. By the way,
I'm sorry, I don't live anywhere near this stuff. If it's not in like a music video or something that I'm watching, I honestly don't think about it.
They made music videos too. It's like.
Well, again, like it's not something I think about all the time. So when you mentioned that, my brain was like, "What the fuck is a Papa Roach?" What?
Oh my god.
Anyway, let's hit play.
I don't know who like Trapped or like Simple Plan are. I mean,
this gentleman is your primary objective. He's a top-level threat. Engage him with the full brunt of your firepower.
Yeah, now you might probably want to mute it before like the copyright music comes up. But I really do not like
anyway. Well, not struck. We're gonna get claimed anyway. So
I like how this art and animation style looks. Like someone did like a fix-it kind of situation and gave like Dante longer hair, and I was like, oh my god, this looks so much better. Like Dante's hair is just way too short. It's driving me nuts.
Well, isn't this supposed to have like 7 seasons?
I don't know. I know that it's only 1 season right now. We'll see if it survives it.
Like this reminds me of that time we were trying to make anime in like the 2007 to 2014 7-year span there. Do you remember that? We were doing like a lot of Amerime after the success of Teen Titans. People were trying to copy that all the time. And this really feels like one of those look, Mom, we're doing anime. You know, that's really what this feels like. Cause like you get that okay, this is anime, this is very feels like it, looks like it, got all, and then all of a sudden, boom, something only an American animator would think of would happen happens. And again, it could be Japanese animators, I don't know. It just feels, I don't know.
Well, it's Studio Mer that's doing it, and like you could tell that it's them. They have this style, and it drives me nuts. I can't stand it. It just feels, it's just so awkward, and it's so static.
Yeah, that's the problem with it. That's what it is. Everything's not moving.
It's very clunky.
What was that? What was that one that did that? There was
Lookism is one of them.
There was another one that came out recently that did. I just can't think of it.
Oh, Blue Lock's the other one. Blue Lock.
Yeah, that's the one that they've been bitching about. Yes, Blue Lock with all of its
Blue Lock's way worse than this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this is very, very clunky.
Well, they're doing all the anime they can think of. That's for sure. All the anime.
But yeah, look, Lady looks. Everyone's saying like Lady looks very masculine.
Yep. Yeah. I'll buy that. Yeah. You know, I'm not exactly sure she'll stay that way because again, it seems like they're sort of presenting her in sort of a crisis situation. So her visual attitude may change.
It's just in
going
the face,
forward.
he looks like a boy. It's just
Yeah.
throwing me off.
It's bizarre, that's for sure. But there, catches me off guard every now and then. We're playing this like there's audio. Sorry. The situation is that Netflix is involved with this. It carries some of the same fingerprints of what went wrong with Castlevania. So we
I
may
don't think
end
this
up
will be
running.
Nocturne bad. This is not going to be Castlevania Nocturne bad.
Right. We're not gonna run. I don't think we're gonna run into Dantevania, where like they're just randomly making up plot points. But I do think what is going to be filler with this is going to really take liberties. You're gonna get a lot more insight into Dante than even the games brought you, with the filler that they put into this. Because again, the weird thing about American sponsored anime is, as usual, we want to explain everything to death. And again, it doesn't matter if it's made in Japan or not. It's just it seems to be like some obsession with the American sponsors, the American publisher, producers, however you want to do it, where they have to wring out like the root cause of all the things. And that's why I think the filler here is going to really dive into more fan fiction-y territory with Dante, because getting the action scenes feel very uh Invincible-esque. You notice that?
Yeah.
Watch these action scenes and tell me you don't
I'd
feel
say
a
it's
bit of
more stiff,
Invincible
though.
here.
I'd say it's more stiff than Invincible, though.
Yeah, to a degree.
Because
But
Invincible
I
action scenes are a little bit more fluid than this.
that's true. They don't have those weird pauses before the explosion thing happens. That's true. Maybe that's for comedy purposes, though.
Well, I think part of it is because Invincible, I don't think Invincible uses as much CGI as this does. Either that or they're able to blend it into the 2D a little bit better.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. But it is what it is, and we'll have to find out if it kind of can carry itself through. There's not a lot of confidence. Let's put it that way. Not a lot of confidence that this is.
But I'm gonna say it looks better than what you're getting, what you got with Nocturne. It's not going to be like straight up woke fan fiction. It might be cringe, but it's not going to be like woke ass fan fiction. There's no race swaps or anything in here either, from what we're seeing.
Well, and you've got Bazette here saying, was never a fan of DMC, and even I still hate this. And it's one of those things. It's oh no, it will be bad. Apparently, it's Adi Shankar, and I think that's the guy behind Castlevania. So.
Yeah, the original Castlevania, Netflix Castlevania. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Dante does look a little soy. You're right. He does. He looks a little soft here. Again, we might be dealing with the younger one, and so we get a bit more of that childish attitude out of him. Where is that? Where's his face? Stupid, goofy face. There. It might get a bit more. That might explain the short hairs that we're dealing with. Like a 10 years before the main plot of the game, Dante. Maybe I don't know. It feels like in their vein to try and back it up, because this is what fan fiction writers do. They don't go into the future. Most of the time they don't, unless they're going to tell a story about somebody having a family. They go back to the past before the events of the thing that got them into the franchise began, like what happened with that Star Wars, the one with the witches that just came out. But anyway.
You're talking about
Acolyte. That's
Acolyte,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Acolyte. And so it wouldn't surprise me if this was 10 years before the original game started, this footage that we're seeing here, and then like episode 3 brings us up to the current time, and that's why this has so much action in it.
Well, I heard this takes place like between, or people are theorizing it takes place between like 2 and 3, but I think it's just like, it looks more straight up like fan fiction. It's just doing its own thing.
I don't know. We got, Xavier here, and he agrees with us. The Geek Archivist here, he says Netflix always keeps bringing morons with fan fiction type lunacy logic. So
Like, I don't understand. Is it that hard to just adapt the source material? Like, that's just what people want. It's like an adaptation of the source material.
this can only canonically take place about a week before DMC3. Okay. All right. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me to see them try to stuff 3 seasons into 2 and 3 are not canonically next to each other. Okay. All right. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me that they tried to stuff everything they want to do in 2 seasons worth of this show into.
They did that with Castlevania, right? They did that, like, they adapted all of Castlevania within what, like the first season, maybe first 2 seasons, and then after that it was fan fiction.
They didn't really get into adapting it. That's the thing, is that they took the skin of Castlevania and just told an entirely new story. Like when you play Castlevania, one of the things that is abundant is that you kill vampires. And the story that we're told in Castlevania, the anime, is that, well, there's sometimes that you don't, and we agonize a lot about the Belmonts, and that's not really a focus of the game. You're just supposed to kill Dracula, You're supposed to kill Dracula. And there's no wall chicken. And I am personally offended by the lack of wall chicken. So if you're going to do a Castlevania anime, wall chicken is a must. And I defy you to tell me that it would not look like rather it would take you out if they found chicken in a wall. Think about how crazy that anime was, right? That first season of that attempt at anime. You look at how crazy that was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wall chicken would be too crazy, guys. Really? A brick being pushed out of the way, and all of a sudden there's a hot chicken meal behind there. Really? That would be the thing that breaks it? Not death talking about eating the soul of Belmont's girlfriend and pooping it out and choking him with it. That's just the wall chicken's too far, right? Okay. That's what you're dealing with, are people that just make the strangest creative decisions on this stuff. The Kirby saying, I don't think Netflix cares about canon. In fact, I don't think canon has been a thing ever in Western. Let's make a movie out of it. Yeah, you're right. That's very true. They don't. I even think the cowboy movies did this too. Is that they take the Louis L'Amour cowboy movies and cowboy books, rather, the chapter books, and then just decide to make a whole new story out of it. I don't know. It could just kind of be that old thing of how we ended up with the Greek gods and goddesses and all their crazy stories, is that everybody has to put their spin on the campfire tale. It can't just
look how we got Yasuke in Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Yeah, it's a bad game of telephone. Yeah. Wall chicken. That's how you know it's an authentic Castlevania story, is if wall chicken is immediately brought up, all right? That through the gate. Like, that's how we should have met Belmont. Is he should have been pulling chicken out of a wall, and somebody saying, how do you do that? It's just been in my blood. It runs in the family. And that's it's never explained how he could just find chicken in a wall. A hot chicken dinner in a wall. It's never explained. It doesn't have to be. This is what I was talking about earlier, about how the West has this obsession with explaining everything. And that's why the DMC thing will probably follow more of like the fan fiction route of trying to explore more of Dante's emotional space than what actually took on in the games, because it's just so boring to do what made the thing popular in the first place. Who would ever want to do that? They hide the money in candles next. Who knows? The Jacob's running a little bit late tonight, so we'll keep it rolling here. I assume Spencer's tidying up on a article here, and he'll be joining us shortly as well. But we do have plenty of news to talk about. Things have been raining from the sky recently.
Yeah.
There's I'm sorry, just trying to scroll through it here to find what I wanted to talk about here. So just so you guys know out there, this pertains to our weeb friends who are fans of butts and boobs and giant robots. All of your game progress with Mecha Break will be erased on March 16th. So if you want to take your screenshots of your high scores to show all your friends in between and when the game will be available and when the demo ends, now would be the time.
really is stupid that they won't let you carry over your data into the main game.
I don't think they know how. To be 100% honest with you, I just don't think they know how. You're not. There's been a big like reveal about China's recent technological advances and how they're just sort of, as usual, cobbled together things that kind of work. And so Mecha Break's probably another one of those ones where they cobbled together a bunch of concepts and, the game works. And that's all it has to do. So transferring your data is probably well and beyond whatever this game was attempting to do. That's what I wanted to bring up. So we have a few Gundam anniversaries kicking around. Today is this was yesterday was the 15th anniversary of Gundam Unicorn. That is how old you are. It has been 15 years since the Basher, whatever his name is, got into the Unicorn Gundam and full frontal got his ass kicked. So, and yeah, 15 years, guys. It's been 15 years since Gundam Unicorn came out. In that time, we have a statue that transforms and a bunch of model kits. Yeah. Yeah, it's been 15 years. I didn't mean to cough in your ear there. Yeah, it's been 15 years since good old Gundam Unicorn hit the airwaves. So, man. Yeah, 2010 seems like a lifetime ago. It's true. It's a whole different world going back that far. Yep. Yeah, I saw the pre-dub. Yeah, Japanese release premiere on the final 3 episodes at Anime Expo. Yep. You're an old man, Spencer. You're an old man. It's over. It's all over. But other anniversaries around here is that we also have, I think this is the 40th anniversary of Gundam. No, it's not. It was 88 is when Gundam Char's Counterattack came out. And it has been that long. This is the year anniversary month that came out.
It's almost 40 years.
Yeah, pretty close. But sorry, I just trying to scroll back to Gundam related news.
Oh, the Hatsune Miku and Gundam collab got announced. It's crazy how like the Zaku model kits have just looked better than the actual Gundams lately. I don't know what it is, but
there we go. So we have a lot of
that's the Hatsune Miku Gundam. People were saying it was like a repaint of the Freedom Gundam.
It is. But that's okay. It's a good color for it. Just a small color shift, as you can see right here. Just a small color shift. But, again, it's a collector's edition because it marks an anniversary and it'll be rare and limited edition. So that's good. That's neat. Again, like Japan knocks it out of the park with these limited designs. They have these 7-Eleven Gundams going around. So it's not like this is anything different. That's just a recolor of Grandpa Gundam or the current Gundam. It's not a big deal. What they did, though, is they did an animation for this. And I'm trying to... there it is. I think this is it.
Yeah, with the Hatsune Miku. Yeah, the song is a new song as well.
Yep, and we will definitely get taken off for that one, so I can't play that one for you. But
it's so pretty though, this art and animation.
They did a good job. They really went out of their way to try and pay tribute to everything happening with the
franchise. And they used in terms of the mixing, they mixed some previous Gundam tracks with this too, which I thought was really, really cool.
And I want to say that they featured a Hatsune Miku Gundam. Zaku.
There's a Hatsune Miku Zaku kit. And there's also it didn't get revealed the last time I checked, but there's a Char plush. Hatsune Miku Char plush that's coming, which I thought was so random, but
Here you go. This looks way cooler. than
Yeah,
the
I
Gundam.
know. Like, I don't know what it is. The Zakas have been looking really cool.
Yeah, like yeah, the Miku Exaku kid. I might buy this just because of the colors. Like change the iconography on it, and it's a pretty badass unit, right? Like
Yeah.
this. Think about Char's like coral colored suit in with these blues. That would
sick.
look pretty cool. That would look pretty good. That's like your Wii controllers, not your Wii controllers. God,
Switch.
the Switch controllers, the other motion controlled game thing. Yeah, right? This is cool. This is badass. This is 35 whatever SGs are. 35 super goods. That's what that is. That's 35 super goods.
It's not that bad of a price either.
No. Yeah, that looks like a must buy. Absolutely. That's just badass. You could do anything you want with that. Add some more black to it. You got a stealth.
Yeah, that's like a custom, like an easel. Like I can see so many people customize it.
They do such great work with the color on the gun plaquettes. It's ridiculous how they're able to fine tune that plastic into these perfect colors. You didn't always used to be like that. Oh, here's a full body of it. Here's a full body of it. Wow.
Doesn't that look
wow. That is badass.
Yeah, I knew you would like that. Like as soon as I saw that, I was like, dude, like the Zaku looks so much better than the actual Gundam.
It's just a repaint of the Zaku too. But man, that is just straight up badass. And it's meant to look like Hatsune Miku. That's the funniest thing. It's meant to look like an anime girl. Wow.
Like, like they could have done something cool like that for an actual Gundam, but no, they did it for the Zaku.
And of course, we do have the Hatsune Miku Haru, which
I love that logo. That logo is cool.
Yep. It's a great time to be alive. Yeah, the $30 Gundam is really good. Yeah, $30 Zaku rather. Yeah. Well, again, you can always attach them. I'm sure that they have them out there. Yeah, the spikes, man. This like the whole package. Yeah, the Strike Freedom Gundam with the repaint, Hatsune Miku repaint looks pretty good. Yeah. Again, like Gundam, they knock it out of the park with this stuff. They knock it out of the park. They know what they're doing. And again, we just don't have anything over here in the West that'll compete with that. It's passion at the end of the day. That's what it really boils down to, is the passion of it all, is that it's just not there.
Like period. It's like that period. It's compared to like Hasbro, where they're trying to do like or have premium prices for like subpar product. And it's just so ridiculous.
Yeah. Sorry. I was just trying to look through all this stuff.
Did you find the plush?
No, I found it's just another cultural thing I wanted to bring up. The Japanese are putting their faith into the United States for protection. So just kind of a cultural update on what's going on with the ground level in Japan. Now that we're talking about Gundams and war and stuff like that. The Japanese Defense Ministry, I think I have that right. Department, maybe, I'm not sure. They have announced that they believe that the United States, under Trump especially, will fulfill the obligations of protecting Japan from incursion, even if nuclear response is required. So, like I said earlier, Japan is our greatest ally. You could talk about England all you like. You could talk about Australia all you like, Canada, Mexico, whatever. Japan is our greatest ally. They've demonstrated that in this first 3 months of this new presidency, absolutely, if not the past 60 years at least. So I think it's time we officially recognize Japan as our greatest ally. Because even now, rather than trying to poo-poo us for not being there and completely thwarting off the Chinese and giving them our steel and all this other stuff, the Japanese still have full trust that we're going to protect them. And I have to appreciate that, right? I have to appreciate that they, despite all the bumps and bruises they've been through with the past 2 administrations, especially backed around to this one again, they still believe that we're going to help them. And I'm thankful for that they haven't given up on us. They have a lot of reason to.
No other choice, really.
Well, you got a good point there, but I mean, it's one of those things where I'm just really, I don't think so. I don't think that that's the case at all. Um, I'm one of those guys, and this is not something I want to advocate for in real life, but I'm one of those people that believes that we would be much better off if Japan was a US state, because the influence of Japanese culture on American culture and vice versa, I think would probably save the world. Whenever our nations are in great harmony with one another, there is peace in the world. You check through all the chapters of history, when Japan and the United States, since the United States showed up, when Japan and the United States are in good favor with each other, meaning our cultures are working in synchronicity, there's peace in the world. There's good things happening. And I just I'm just one of those guys that I think that the Japanese culture, even at the time when we finished World War II, would have really benefited the U.S. culture, because we've just gotten so removed from everything. Like I tell people all the time, it's like define an American. You really can't anymore. You can't say that we're all about freedom, because you got people that are trying to destroy Teslas because Elon's doing things they don't like, and that's apparently how we handle that now. Like we burned down cities because a fella that was in a really bad situation died, right? Some people call him a criminal, most people do. And again, he was documented to be a criminal, Mr. Floyd, and a bunch of cities were destroyed because of that. Meanwhile, in Japan, they don't have these. There was a very popular streamer who was stabbed to death just a couple days ago
Yeah.
in Japan over a financial dispute. And that is, I believe, the most violent attack they've had in the last 5 years, I think. I wanna say that's the most violent attack that they've had. Because again, this guy was just, like, he just walked right up to her and did it. He didn't, like, there wasn't some grand announcement or some huge fight. He just walked up and calmly began cutting her up. And so it is, I just think that we could have really benefited from having more cultural crossover. But again, that's just me in my head, and that's just what it is. But
Well,
yeah,
you
the
have
NGOs are
people.
definitely at the
Well, you
source.
have the problem is you have aunties that want to colonize Japan and destroy their culture. So
Right.
and then I'm not just talking about one side of the aisle either. You have it on both sides that want to colonize and like destroy their culture. It's very, very frustrating to deal with, unfortunately.
Well, and again, we're different cultures now, and that's the problem, is that we had an opportunity to change history, and we did it. We did it, but we did it, I think, in a way that didn't help both guys, both ends of that party. I think we hurt each other a lot, but
Well, if you want to make the
what are you gonna do?
argument about making it like Japan, like a territory like Guam, for example, maybe you could make maybe an
It's too late
argument
for that,
for
though.
that.
It's too late.
But nah,
Yeah.
it like it's too obviously it's too late now. But I'm saying like at the time, maybe you could make an argument for that at the time. But there's no there's no way now. No way.
Right. And that's why it's up in my head, That's I adore the Gozuger, prime minister, the happy sunshine guy. I really hope that guy would've would have been like a real life prime minister to serve and stuff like that, 'cause I love his attitude. Fantastic character. We do have some good news. It's not all bad news, fellas. Are you keeping track of that, One Punch Man, anime trailer? Did you
It's
catch that
not
one?
looking well. One Punch Man, it's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
It is because yes, it's finally coming, and this is like I have the side by side here, but man, it's not looking good. So what's happening here is the past couple of this trailer and the trailer before, they were pre-animated by one person a pop. So basically, we have no official footage of what's happening in season 3. It's and season 3 is coming out on the 10-year anniversary of season 1.
Yep. Sorry. Okay, well, that's certainly
And
well,
it
it's not
and
too
still
bad.
looks bad. It doesn't look. It's not looking good either. People are pissed. It looks okay in some spots, but it's not looking good. And from what I couldn't believe this. I saw this on JC Staff's website. It straight up says they are doing 8 to 10 anime per year. And for one of the studios in particular, this isn't the studio that's doing One Punch Man. This is Studio 3. Let me have it here. That this is the newest studio. It says here that under what difficulties they face so far. That this is the studio head that said this.
Okay.
This is production producer Kosuke Matsuo. The difficulties they face so far is that Studio 3 is the newest team, and they established like over a year ago, and is currently in the process of strengthening its production capabilities. And in the meantime, over the past year, so this is over the past year, we have been working on the production of The Duke of Death and His Maid, Delico's Nurse, and Honey Lemon Soda in rapid succession. So 3 productions in rapid succession over the past year. And it really, and it really felt like the whole team was stretching themselves to the limits. And it was tough and with a lot of hardship, fatigue, and lamentations. But I believe that our hard work has led to the growth for myself and the team. JC Staff is killing their production teams, basically. This is their newest studio, mind you. And they're doing 3 in rapid succession in a year. That's insane.
Right.
Most
That's a lot of.
Let-
Well,
let
it's a
me-
lot of. We already know that the animators are paid not a lot. They have to live in dormitories, and they already are understaffed because of just simply the lack of people in Japan. Period, to be animators, let alone people seeking that career.
Mhm.
And 3 anime a year. My God, I
This
can't
is one
imagine.
studio doing it, mind you.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like to kind of put that in perspective, these are all 50 episodes, 30 to 50 episodes, right?
They are 12 episodes.
Yeah, so they're putting out 36 animated episodes a year with those 3 combined.
Yeah, and this is their
So
first year of being up and running. And I want you guys to keep in mind, like studios like say David Productions, Trigger, they do like 1 to 2 per year. And this studio did 3 in their first year.
not everybody can be Madhouse, I guess, that just does one and knocks it way out of the park all the time. You know what I mean? Like focuses on one and really does a good job. I guess they kind of want to do with you got to. There's also that kind of dearth that's happening in Japan right now, where a lot of people are kind of getting burnt out on their current entertainment, and so I think what we're kind of treading into with these anime things is they're moving into a corporate space again. You remember this?
Yes, it's very much what it is. It's very much corporatized from what
Yeah.
I understand. And it's not just that, it's that there's an increased demand in anime right now. And it's not just because of Japan, it's because
not.
of the global demand. And it
Correct.
started happening in particular during COVID.
Yeah, and this is what we were talking about with Pedro Pascal being a huge star and like how next to nobody in America can figure it out, and it's because South America is absolutely in love with him. And so that's how this guy, yeah, again, like he gets jobs legitimately being a good actor. He's not being tossed in there because he's, it's how you feel about his acting prowess. But what I'm getting at is that much like how Pedro Pascal is a mega star in everything today because South America really enjoys the guy. Likewise, anime is in large demand because Japan is not as populous as the United States or as Europe as a whole or China, who also is a consumer of that. And so you end up with this new attitude about anime. Of course, you have BlackRock buying into one of the largest no, it was Vanguard, right? That bought into the largest manga distributor, digital manga distributor. Is that right?
Yeah.
And so you've got the heavy corporate interest invading into this. And much like how I would say it's like from 2002 to 2009, there was a really heavy tilt into corporate anime. You know what that was? That was like, we got to sell stuff anime. I'm not referring to like Bakugan and I am referring to Dinosaur King. You remember that one?
Yes.
That one was like pure. It felt like pure. Like we've got all these dinosaur metal stamp to make toys with, So let's make an anime to sell these plastic toys. And that again, not a bad idea, but I always feel like it's one of those that time period had like a lot of we got to sell a toy. Let's make an anime to sell the toy, but not in the way that like they had a new toy. It was just something they had laying around, and they made an anime to try and like get rid of the stuff they had laying around. And that's what it honestly feels like what's going on right now is that because of the demand, they're producing anime in rapid succession to get it out there, sort of like how we do like fast food. So anime is becoming sort of more McDonald's than it should, I guess.
You know what's
But
scary?
that's
But you know what's scary though is that for JC staff, for one of the studios that it was Studio 2. Again, this is on their official website. The production producer admitted that they don't have a security or cleaning team, or they don't, and that they have to do the cleaning and the security themselves. And I'm just like, as soon as I saw this, I'm like, dude, after KyoAni, after what happened with that, you're really not going to provide any security for your production team?
Yeah, well, it's not that it's a big surprise because again, they're trying to emphasize the production. So it's you ever hear of the normalcy bias?
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens to a lot of people in this situation where everything's just going to be fine, so we're just going to keep doing the same thing, time and time again. And that's, I think, infecting a lot of Japan's corporate structure because of the boomers. Much like how a lot of our businesses are run by people who are in their 70s, same thing in Japan. And so that's that old, well, it happened once, it won't happen again. Japan's a perfectly safe place. This is nothing like this ever happens here, and it was a one-time freak accident. They don't behave as more alert because they don't have to. They're not the targets of these crimes rather than the workers.
But like this is how the producer described the atmosphere. It says, and this is really sad, is that studio, and this is the studio that does Denmachi and the Certain Magical Index series, is that Studio 2 exists as a building owned by the company. There are no cleaning staff or security guards patrolling the premises, so everyone is responsible for cleaning and checking for equipment malfunctions and defects. And we believe that if people have the awareness for creating and protecting their own space, they will be able to focus more on their work. This is just, it blows my mind that this is on JC Staff's website. I don't know what they were thinking. Why would you have this on your website?
Well, to be completely honest, it just feels like another chapter of the old we're gonna spice up this budget cut conversation, change the dynamic of what we're saying here. We're not going to pay to protect you, but that's good. That's a good thing.
No, I'll put it in the chat so you can show it so people will see that I'm not joking. This is on their website. There's like in the studio that One Punch Man is in, Studio 1, is they were talking about like how how they're shifting basically from like a rom-com to One Punch Man season 3. I'm just like, why are you having a studio that's working on a rom-com working on One Punch Man right after? It's like, what? They even said it's 180 degrees different from what we're doing for spring, but it's a popular title and I think expectations are high. It's like, well, yeah, like I don't know what JC Staff is thinking. This is just a weird studio.
It's a really strange time in Japan. There's a lot of dynamics that are shifting. Young people especially are concerned that corporations aren't going to continue down the path of taking care of their employees from cradle to grave, as this sort of kind of what Japan's corporate structure is known for, is that they'll pull you out of university and you'll work for that company forever. But they'll take care of you in the process of that. It might not be great care, but they have obligations to you. Now here comes JC staff who says, you know what? Nah, not so much. You're on your own. We'll give you money. You're on your own. So it's much more American style. Again, this could be the influence of that American investment in there. Then they say, well, why are we paying for these people? They're going to just move on to another company anyway. You know, because again, we don't here in the West, we don't prioritize holding people anymore. You know, we really don't. We can me too you if you get too inconvenient for us. So, you know, and that's kind of the attitude this feels like. Is it feels like an American kind of corporate structure that said, yeah, you know how things work in Japan corporate structure? Not here. That doesn't work here.
Well,
We're
like
going to
the way
start
that
charging you
they're
for
doing-
the toilet paper too.
Well, the way their career plan is, like with their progression and stuff like that, it like sounds great on paper because if you stay for a certain amount of time, then you can, you know, like work on actual episodes and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like you're gonna kill these people considering you're doing like 8 to 12 like productions a year.
Mm. Well, and you know, Jacob's here.
Or sorry, it's 8 to 10, not 8 to 12. I'm sorry.
Are you nerds still talking about Japan?
Yeah, forever
and ever.
Well, there's a certain dub voice actor that you would probably know because he voiced like Anjuman, manga Anjuman.
Oh,
well, hold on.
We
need to make sure that we set this up, that we're not like shitting on this guy.
No, I'm crapping on. I'm not no
Okay.
context to this conversation. I'm already crapping on because every time it reminds me of Anjuman, he reminds me of TK. So you know what?
Well, he's dead.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. I mean, no, that's not. That's bad. That's bad. No, that's bad.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, he passed away. The voice actor for Angemon, as well as several Power Ranger villains and allies, has also passed away here.
He did a lot of voice
Yeah.
acting for video games like Resident Evil as well.
Yeah, no, I heard about this a couple hours ago. Yeah, I mean, it's sad. I think he's what 74 was what he listed, or was he younger than that?
Didn't mean it like that. Stream number 3. Yeah. I want to say what I read was that he was in his 60s. He was in his early 60s. So
okay.
Another one in
that-
the early 60s. Like, geez, how many?
When you look at his voice acting career, this guy was probably doing a lot of smoking cigarettes and a lot of drinking coffee. You know, you look at that bibliography, look at that filmography, that guy was working all the time. If there was a recording studio open, his ass was in it. And that you can't keep up that energy all the time without stimulation. And you saw what happened with Akira Toriyama. So it's no
it's
surprise.
76 for him, by the way. 76, not
was-
60s.
Okay, so yeah,
76.
that's not even a surprise anymore.
And it
But
said
again, like he has a
well, it said here, it says in the TMZ article here, that his health had been declining in recent years, and although his death is upsetting, it did not completely come out of the blue.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, once you get up there, you're probably just in declining health to begin with. I mean, like I said, it's still sad. I mean, you know, but we are reaching that age where it's like, yeah, you know, a lot of people who we knew growing up 30 years ago, and maybe some people a little bit older than us 40 years ago, it's like this is the time where, you know, those people start passing away, because you got to remember, like in the case of it was 30 years ago for us, but you got to remember how old these people were 30 years ago. And a lot has happened in the course of 3 decades, and a lot of people are starting to hit that age where, you know, the body just starts to, you know, slowly shut down on them. And, you know, you're going to have occasional sad stories like this. But I mean, like I said, the guy had a great career. He had, like I said, a multitude of different voices that you recognize almost instantaneously from his career, from several different franchises. And it's kind of the career that you want, something that's, you know, quiet, you know, memorable, scandal free, you know, stuff like that. You know, just being around, and it's like, oh yeah, no, I know that guy. You may not know his face, but you definitely know his voice. So,
well, and you know, being the voice of Angemon, when you think about that, that's pretty impressive. Not that character rose to any particular heights or whatever, but that I don't think that voice changed. I think he's the same voice when he's Magna Angemon, and he's the same voice when he's Pegasusmon, and he's the same voice when he's Seraphimon. I think he's got the same. I think he's the same voice. I think Gatomon is the only one that has the voice change when she goes from Gatomon to Angelwomon to Megadramon.
Magna Anjuman
35 years old and I know this. God damn it! What have I done with my life?
I'm almost 40 and I know this by heart.
Ryder, you're somewhat wrong. Manga Ajimon's voice is just a little bit deeper. It's like I want to say like half an octave, maybe an octave deeper. It's just a little-
Probably because he's Magna, so we got to make him sound more serious, you know? I don't
Yeah.
know. But it's, oh man. I just,
Nerdigans.
God
What
damn
Cider was saying was nerdy enough, and you somehow managed to find a way to make it even nerdier than what he was talking about.
Oh. It's like I realized it the other day. Like, eventually, I'm going to be 45 years old talking about Sonic the Hedgehog movies that have recently come out, and I don't. Oh man, I'm not ready for that.
When you're 70 years old and you got dementia, you're gonna be in a rocking chair going, "Look out, speed by."
Don't
Sonic
forget
the
to hit
Hedgehog."
like and subscribe, guys.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, Nogla reacted to one of my videos once. Sounding like some 20-year-old who has no concept of what YouTube was.
No marriage and no kids, but I can tell you the evolution cycle of a Digimon off the top of my fucking head.
Oh, just in the back of your head, you can just go Matrix Digivolution. Wow,
It
we
really
just
is,
trauma unlocked a few people there just by bringing that one back up.
Reminding everybody, by the way, you're going to die someday, you know, and it's going to be at a time when you're probably talking about the things that you love. So, speaking of things that you love, SpongeBob is now part of Magic the Gathering.
Why?
They put the Transformers in there, so I assume.
No, stop. You could just said why and moved on to the next topic. And that was the perfect answer to this question. It's like why are we doing this? Like, okay, let me rewind here just for a second. Anyone remember when SpongeBob first became a show? I believe it was 99, 98, somewhere like around that time
99.
period. 99, right? It was a decent show for its first couple of seasons. I watched it. It was funny. I don't know why it's still a thing. And not only did this cultural juggernaut that it's become over the course of the last 2.5 decades, that we're still making SpongeBob references and memes, and for some reason, black people just love making SpongeBob say the N-word over and over again. I don't know where that whole thing came from, but it's a thing that exists on the internet too. And now we're at Magic the Gathering, so. Yeah, this thing has just encompassed all cultures in a time period.
We kind of glossed over that N-word SpongeBob part there. That went by a little quick. What?
Oh yeah,
What
no.
now?
If you go on YouTube, there's hundreds of thousands of videos of just SpongeBob calling people the N-word over and over again. It's a thing that exists. It's there. SpongeBob, Squidward, and Packers. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why these things exist.
SpongeBob Clan Pants. All right.
That's like the idiot that said Saiyans were black. It makes no sense.
Pain. Straight up pain. Well, I thought that was going to last a little bit longer. Okay. Sorry. Didn't have anything ready to go right behind that. Sorry about that. Okay. All right. Here's Stitch. We can be mad about this now, okay?
Oh my god! They got rid of the cross-dressing aliens, man. It's like I hate saying it, but it's total queer erasure. I have to use the term because it's like that was the whole point. It's a cross-dressing alien. Why would you get rid of that and just turn him into a regular man, a regular human? That was the whole point. It was him, I think it was Pui Pui. He dressed as a woman. Why would you get rid of that?
I'm sorry. Is Stitch supposed to be some cross-dressing phenomenon that I just missed over?
No, not Stitch. It's Pui Pui. They changed him into a regular human.
Okay, so obviously we need to watch the trailer in order to know what the fuck is going on here.
Yeah, because
here I have the actual screenshot. Hold on.
It's okay. We'll grab the trailer.
Oh, actually, I have
we went from SpongeBob saying the N-word to cross-dressing Disney characters. It's I don't know how we got here so quickly.
I have a comparison here too from IGN that has the comparison between the trailer and the live action.
Okay. get that dropped out there. Let's take a look at that. All right. Neat.
That looks so. It's like it's so lifeless.
I mean, in all honesty, I think the bar has been so lowered that I look at this and I go, it's not the worst thing. At least we haven't seen the trailer yet, but just from the screenshot, it's not the worst looking thing that they've done recently.
No, it's
He's
not.
T-posing for
I mean,
dominance.
off the heels of The Lion King, I mean, you know, you gotta keep some things in perspective here.
This just looks stupid. I'm not gonna lie, it just looks stupid. That's I don't know why anyone would want to do this, but so here's the trailer. Let's go through it.
We have apprehended a dangerous experiment. Where is he? He escaped. He is trying to find the police cruisers.
My favorite part about all this new live action stuff is that when they're trying to replicate the original animation's movements and attitude, you can't tell what the hell's going on screen. It's just a bunch of blurry lights moving all over the place, and then something blows up.
Feels like YouTube poop.
He took the red one. What hideous planet is caught in your crosshairs?
Shooting star! I wish for a friend.
So one. Oh, that's the wrong song. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
I was like, what? Lilo and Stitch has nothing to do with Lilo's heritage as a Pacific Islander Hawaiian. Nothing to do with it at all.
Is this Moana 3? Is this what we're watching?
I know
right
that she has her
now?
dance class. I'm not referring to that. It's the song in the background that annoys the hell out of me when this comes up.
Shooting star! I wish.
What?
It's like Samoan yodeling.
He listens to Elvis. Why is this coming on?
It's like Samoan yodeling. That's what it sounds like.
It's both though. There is both Polynesian and / Hawaiian and Elvis there in this original soundtrack, if you remember.
Like a best friend.
Can you just pause just for a second? There must be like an insane market for like little Polynesian like 8-year-olds out there, because you gotta keep this in mind here too. They're coming out with this later this year, and a live action Moana is also coming out in the same year from Disney, back to back.
Okay. I don't know. Oops, I clicked the wrong button. Sorry.
You're not even on the right screen. There you go.
What the hell?
Like I remember the ukulele stuff, right? I just don't remember the vocalizing. I don't remember that. I remember Elvis's voice.
Anyone remembers the days of trying to make your own ukulele with like, you know, toilet paper tubes and rubber bands? Anyone remember doing that?
No, I was making shampoo bombs.
He's so cute and fluffy.
He is your responsibility. Got it.
We promise.
Yeah.
Isn't that just adorable?
That is so. It's just the fire, the smoke alarm beep. It's so well timed.
The 9-volt battery is undefeated.
See, this I remember. I remember Elvis being a part of it. I don't remember the vocalizing. That's all.
No. Control him. Hey, what are you doing? No. Dogs on the table.
You sure that's a dog?
Yeah.
Rough.
Ew, we are not keeping this thing.
Ohana means family. Family means nobody gets left behind.
Or forgotten.
Stitch that.
Sometimes family isn't perfect. That doesn't mean they aren't good. That's close. I don't think you're supposed to drink that.
Agent Cobra Bubbles. We have a blue dog.
Nope. Nope.
That is not Cobra. That is not him.
No. They had Terry Crews right there, and they didn't do it. They had Terry Crews right there, and they didn't do it.
There's more buff black guys out there than Terry Crews, damn it.
Well, no, it's Terry Crews has that attitude though that he can do badass and then soft guy like that, you know, and you can believe it. That's the thing. You could act it out all you like, but Terry can do that badass to soft guy, just bang like that. He can do that. I don't know many guys, any actor, white or black, that can do that. Many of them, anyway.
A blue dog to catch.
No,
So I posted the link of what the comparison I was talking about. Like, it's just, I can't believe.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Like, why? You could have used the Jim Henson Muppet Company for this. Like, why?
I think it's honestly that they didn't believe that the puppet would sell anybody, and they didn't want to spend the money on the CGI to make it believable. They hadn't spent enough on Stitch in order to make him look like a wet dog. So
but that's like the whole thing, though. That's what makes it fun. And I'm just like,
yeah.
But like, I mean, you could have gotten a fatter person though, too. Let's be real. But still, I mean, I just think about like people. There's been like a debate in the comments about how, oh, there's no way they can make this work. It's like, dude, did you not watch TMNT like back in the day when the when the Jim Henson Muppets Workshop was able to do like Turtles in Disguise and shit? It's like, dude, hello, it can be done. It's just Disney doesn't want to be creative.
I don't have the ability.
Yeah, I'm not. This is one of the things I was thinking about the other day with Super Sentai. Is we don't really put priority into practical effects anymore.
Yeah.
If we can copy it with CGI, we'll spend 16 months.
I mean,
making out of CGI.
That's been a thing for like forever now.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem with practical effects is that you actually have to spend money and time to craft it, put it together, make it functional the way that Hollywood used to do things. And now they just figure like, no, just put a big blue screen up and then we'll fix all those things in post-production. And then this is where we are now.
Motion capture nonsense.
Yeah.
You know? And
Like
that,
Tim
again, like
Burton.
a She-Hulk thing.
Well, Tim Burton is like one of the only directors that wants to do practical effects. There's only a few that do it now, but it's like, it's frustrating because if you want to actually have a live action adaptation of something, you got to use practical effects on it for it to be effective.
Right, and you know, Kenneth Ren Domingo here, he says, great, another beloved classic Disney movie. Is Stitch a classic? Anyway,
Yeah,
another
kinda,
beloved
yeah.
classic Disney movie of my childhood, ruined by the Rat House. Yep, that's how it's going. And this is what I'm talking about, is that they wouldn't commit. I don't think they want to spend the money because I think that She-Hulk really scared them. They by going full CGI on that as hard as they did. I think it really scares them. So that's why they're doing this whole like, this character looks like this for a few seconds, then they go back to being a human. So we're not spending $200 million animating a character for a movie that's going to make $40 million. I think they really are gun shy about using CGI excessively anymore. Like, and so that's why they just didn't bother doing a puppet either, is because they were like, let's just remove the whole concept and give him a cloaking device. And we'll have him out of it like for 5 or 10 seconds for in between shots when he's walking between windows, you know? And again, it's sparing. I can appreciate that it's not a CGI vomit fest, you know. Nobody wants to sit through that again, you know. What was that, Titan AE? Nobody wants to sit through that again. But this whole thing makes no sense. Like Stitch, like Moana, does it really need a live action adaptation? I don't think so.
Use one. If you want to adapt something in the live action, adapt one of the movies that was ass, like Black Cauldron. That's what people would want to see, or at least a reboot. Like Black Cauldron was complete ass, and people would want to see it redone.
There was one that was trying to copy Star Wars, and the character had a light sword. It wasn't Thundar. It was another one. And then the only scene I really remember is because it gets memed all the time is when some mechanic is resetting a robot's speech or something like that, and he has to open up her butt. And that one could be remade pretty easily, especially now where people are threadbare about the MCU and Star Wars. So yeah, the live action, Again, it's
Oh, for
puppies,
sure.
you know, and that had limited CGI in it as well. It was quite a bit of it there copying the dogs. Yeah, they didn't have 101 puppies running around, but
Wait,
that
do you mean okay? I had to stop for a second. It's like I know you're not talking about that Cruella DeVille movie that came out a couple of years
No, no,
ago.
no.
I
No,
definitely
no.
did not.
Yeah,
You're talking
he's
about the
talking about
actual
Glenn
movie.
Close, the Glenn Close
Okay.
Yeah.
ones. 'Cause the thing that made that one work is Glenn Close, because Glenn Close was everything in
Okay.
that movie, in those movies. Like she was Cruella DeVille.
Well, you know, it's that movie was ass. Yeah, that's
But not as ass as what we're getting now.
yep. We're not gonna see him yet. That'll be probably revealed in the second trailer. That way they give you the action shots and stuff like that. I'd be curious to find out if they resurrect the 9/11 imagery that they cut out of the original movie. That would be interesting to see if they have Stitch's ship flying through Honolulu. I don't know what city it was that they were flying through. But yeah, there's a meme about it where Cruella's mom is up against the balcony's edge, and Cruella is standing up and says, "Oh no, he's got a gun!" And it cuts to the Dalmatians holding a pistol and goes, "Dalmatian killed my mother."
Dalmatian killed my mother.
That
And
would
now they must pay.
That would be a great SNL skit. You remember those
And then it starts off the trailer going, "My name is Alice."
the do you remember those old the PBS shows that had like the person wearing the shirt and the dog head would come out the top, the dog would be sitting in their lap and they'd make all the hand movements for the dog?
Like the big
So you have the Dalmatians sitting around plotting the death of Cruella's mom and stuff like that. And then when they go outside of their plotting space, like they go into the barn or whatever, and they're like sitting around a table wearing suits and discussing everything. But when immediately as they step outside the barn, back into Dalmatians, right? Back into dog. So it's this total trick on your on your mind and stuff like that. Like they're playing around with you. But instead of her falling over the balcony, it's a drive-by.
Yeah, that's kind of an escalation there, I would say.
Yeah, right. But they're all wearing Blue's Clues masks, like the ex-presidents, the dead presidents. Remember that? So instead of that, they're all wearing Blue's Clues masks.
Yikes.
But again, like these live action things are just stupid, you know.
I mean,
Core
like
memory unlocked. Yeah, forgot about those. Yeah.
Yeah, no, like we know they need the money. Like if you guys haven't, like honestly, like this in the Moana live action, as much as we look at it and be like, why are they doing this? It's like it's probably going to be the two most profitable things they release this year, because I don't know, you guys heard about this Brave New World, that Captain America didn't do well. Shocking. I don't know, no one could have possibly have seen that one coming. That didn't do well. And then Snow White, as we've talked about before, definitely not going to do well, probably do significantly worse than Brave New World. So they need a hit. They need hits. I mean, even if those two movies are moderate successes, it'll probably just offset the losses from those two movies we just mentioned alone. Like you're looking at those two movies being a success just to break even with the losses that you had there. And I mean, at the end of the day, they're kind of just pissing in the wind until they can get at the next Avatar movie out there too. And I think it's this year or next year when the next Avatar is supposed to come out. Avatar 3. Okay, so
it's 26.
It's going to be a while.
This I said this to you last night. This blew my mind. This is a little sidetrack, has nothing to do with anything important, so don't worry. But this is a cast of Cheers, and this is, I believe, the first season, or maybe the last season. I'm not sure. But this is cast of Cheers. This is their ages at the time that they were on the show.
Everyone in this photo is older than I am right now, and they look at least 20 years older than I am right now.
Yeah, right? Right.
Like,
This kind of freaked me out. I was sitting here looking at this for like almost an hour. I was sitting here trying to think of like, why do they look so old? What happened? And then I started like looking at the Gen Xers that I watch on YouTube and stuff, and like they look kind of like their age, they look like they're 40, they look like they're 40, so that makes sense. Then I start looking at the millennials, and we look like we're 12. We're like 40 in the eyes, you know, like Vietnam in the eyes, and then like Pokemon in the face. You know, it's really
Something
weird.
happened between like the boomers and millennials where it was like they aged at a significant rate, like in between there, and it was like it's kind of balanced itself out with Gen X, and then just went far the other direction with millennials, and now it's like Gen Z. It's like something happened there, and I feel like no one's talking about it. I feel like it's something that we need to investigate thoroughly.
Really, I mean, there's something clearly in the water. Like like 27 years old. Brendan Fraser is 27 years old in that picture, and if you told me that, I would tell you you are stupid. That man is in his 40s, at least his late 30s. This guy over here looks like he's on AARP, and he's only my age. He's 35 years old. I am 35. Look at that guy. He looks like grandpa.
He looks like he could legitimately be the father of any person in that photo right now.
He's Kirsty's judgmental father that doesn't accept Ted Danson and his weird brother Woody Harrelson.
And then it's like that poor what's his name? What's the guy who plays Fraser's name?
Kelsey Grammer.
Kelsey Grammer. Yeah, poor Kelsey Grammer over here, 27 years old. It's like the hairline already gave up like 10 years ago. Like he never stood a chance.
Woody's 21. Woody Allen is 21.
Yeah. Woody Allen's the youngest person in the shot, and he was 21.
Yeah. His hairline was like assassinated. You know, he woke up bald.
It's like, with the exception of Kirsty, right? Everyone who's 30 in this picture looks like they can pass for at least early 50s, right?
Yeah.
I don't know about early 50s, but at least they're 40s.
I mean, there's a few people on here that be like, "There's no fucking way you're 35."
Yeah,
dude,
right.
You're 35. I'm 25. If they're 35,
Like if you had given me your ID and you tried to convince me you were 35, I would be convinced you handed me a fake ID, and I would probably have you arrested.
Yeah, Kirstie Alley even looks like she's like, you know,
She's the only one who looks like, you know, yeah, no, I can see her as 31. Like there's no.
Yeah, that's a 30-year-old woman right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody else looks like an AARP candidate.
oh, so the link I posted in the chat, I was dying when I saw this. So apparently, for like a Snow White fan event, there was no ticket sold. It was completely empty, and apparently there was another thing too, where in this very diverse area, and apparently as of like 6 hours ago, there was like 4 seats sold in that theater for opening night. But apparently in like this diverse area that's like
homeless guy taking a nap.
That's like Latino, it's like a very Mexican area, that there was like no tickets sold in that area either. And I was just dying when I saw this.
I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know anybody who wants to see this. I haven't heard anybody talking about it. I haven't. The only people who are talking about it are critiquing it. You know?
People are talking about everything revolving this movie except for the movie itself. Like,
yeah,
that's the problem here. No one's actually talking about the quality of the film. It's, you know, oh, we fired a bunch of midgets because people got upset, or oh, we had to reshoot the entire film because no set photos leaking. Oh, we got to reshoot this thing, and oh, our star ended up pissing off a bunch of people of the old school fans in the movie. And it's like, oh no, now she's pro-Palestine, and the co-act star is from Israel. It's like, and that's basically what the film's marketing has been for like the last year. And we mentioned this like last night. It's like any possible. This film has perfected anti-marketing from this perspective. It's like normally you would want to appeal to as many people as humanly possible. This film has found a way to piss off as many people as humanly possible. You have at least like 4 pro-Brown groups who are all protesting this movie simultaneously, right? Like you got the anti-Israel people who are protesting this movie. You got like the pro-MAGA people protesting this movie. You got the actual old school fans of Snow White that are protesting this movie. I'm pretty sure there's a few other people who are not the biggest fans of Rachel Zegler in this film too. So her haters are not going to want to watch any of this. So it's like, who's actually spending money to watch this? Like who's going to put their butts in the seats to go sit there and watch this for 2.5 hours?
It's Snow White, Folly du Ziegler. Yeah. Well, who's going to put people who are political zealots that need to virtue signal that they are pro POC Snow White, you know, because her story is that she was named Snow because she was born in a snowstorm. Because that's what you do, you know. It's like Hurricane Adams, you know. You just name people after the weather outside. Rainy Jones, you know.
So if you were born in the backseat of a Buick, will we just name you like Caddy? Like what are we doing here?
Junior.
Junior.
You know, that's no, that's kind of the convention they tried to like divert this into, you know, and the situation that they presented here is really just trying to get around the fact that Rachel Zegler is not a white lady. You know, they're trying desperately not to acknowledge that, and they're just kind of like dodging around, like, "Woo, Snowstorm is where she got her name. Woo, she, you know, she's prettier than Gal Gadot. You bet." You know.
But you know what's funny though is like the people in the comments, like a lot of them are saying Rachel Zegler's not controversial. Like there's so much denial here.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Like this one person literally said there's no Rachel Zegler controversy. I'm like, what? What?
I mean, the controversy is that she hasn't been in a single film that could be considered a success on any level, and that's her entire career up to this point. So when this film goes up like the Hindenburg, which is going to, it's the question here is like, does anyone going to give her a shot here? Somebody mentioned this noticed this last night, that somebody was like, hey, look, the only reason why she was even a thing was because she was pushed heavily by Steven Spielberg, right? And that was kind of her big thing with the West Side Story. And I'm pretty sure Spielberg, last name, is not too happy about her very, very anti-Israel, pro-Palestine stuff that she's been going off of. So when this whole thing is all over and the dust cloud is settled and they've put water hoses over the flames that this movie's going to do when it crashes out, who's going to be backing her for any project moving forward? She's bombed at least 3 to 4 big time projects that we know of her career so far, and now she's angered anyone else who would even possibly want to give her another shot. I mean, you would have to be a dope to put her at the front and center of your film at this point, right?
She's probably going to be blacklisted after this. There's no doubt. I don't like after this and like Y2K and the other role for Romeo and Juliet. I doubt she's getting any other roles after that.
Yep, I agree. But no, I don't think so. I think that she's going to be one of those ones like Brie Larson that'll survive through small movies, and then they'll bring her back for whatever fantasy royale movie they decide to put all the live action actresses in to have some Fortnite style battle.
I think Spencer and Axe did Y2K come out. Yeah, that film came out like a month ago, and I believe it made $4 million at the box office. Even on a minuscule budget of $15 million, it only made $4 million. So yeah, there's another box office flop that you can throw on her resume.
What was even the plot to that?
It was basically it's Y2K, and then like our like VCRs and microwaves are killing us or something like that, something along those lines.
Oh, okay. The Killer Mall or something like that.
Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit was in the movie too for some weird reason as well. Like it was one of those type of things.
Oh right, yeah, random Fred Durst. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, apparently it was Fred Durst for a Friday. What can you do?
Well, you know he's not busy. You know, another guy that's blacklisted. But
no, I mean he's out there.
Maximum Overdrive. That's another good one. But there was Killer Mall though, wasn't it? Where all the things in the mall came to life, and tried to kill you.
No, was that Killer Mall or Chopping Mall? I remember
Chopping Mall. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Chopping Mall. Yeah. So everything in the mall came to life and tried to kill you. Yeah.
I remember that because the same actress that was in that one was in one of my all-time favorite movies, A Night of the Comet, which I believe was the very first movie night me, Spencer, and TW watched.
Apparently, Leslie Tarkin brings up here that Ziegler was also in Spellbound. So.
Oh yeah, but I think that was released on a streaming service, so that didn't.
Yeah, it was released on Netflix.
Yeah. I mean, good luck, Disney. You'll definitely need it. That's the best I could say.
Go ahead. You're good, man.
No, I was just gonna move over to a kind of a sidebar, which I just found out about, like literally an hour before I got here. Is that so? WWE. We've talked a little bit about WWE as far as like the Netflix stuff is going. If you guys want to update on the WWE situation, they're averaging roughly 3 million views, and I do use that word views on Netflix every single week because that's kind of the framing of it. Views are not viewers. They're essentially the equivalent of like a YouTube video. Like a YouTube video can get 1 million views. That doesn't mean 1 million people actually watch it. You know what I mean? It's like one of those type of things. And that's how they're doing their metrics now. And that's their numbers for the entire week. Not even just for who watch it that night. For the entire week, it's like 3 million views worldwide. But so in a couple of weeks here, about a month, about 5 weeks roughly, they're going to be doing WrestleMania in Las Vegas. And recently they found the location for where they wanted to do the Hall of Fame ceremony. So they picked the location that's about, I think it was like 4 miles away from T-Mobile. If you guys have never been to Vegas, I'm not sure if you guys have ever been there. I'm not sorry you haven't been there before, but if you guys know Vegas, primarily if you're in the Strip area, it is a son of a bitch to try to maneuver and move around and travel around that area. Whether you are on foot or whether you are on a car, it is not easy to get around that whole area. So there's gonna be a lot of headaches in a few weeks with this whole setup at Las Vegas. I already know what's gonna happen. Besides that, they're doing the Hall of Fame. Now, keep in mind, this is an event that's not like you're going to pay tickets to watch people wrestle. You're basically watching like old people who you used to like from like the 80s and the 90s get inducted into the WWE Wrestling Hall of Fame, whatever that is, right? WWE just released the ticket prices for this said event. The nosebleeds for this event, so that you can watch Triple H, who is currently running the company right now, be inducted into a Hall of Fame. What would you think the prices are for the nosebleeds for this event?
WWE Hall of Fame, Netflix, let's see, probably $100.
You are way off. Not even close.
So like 50?
No, you gotta go the other direction. Yes.
It's more than $100 to sit down and
it's
listen
at
to a
least
speech.
double what you just said. Cheapest
Just to listen to a speech.
Just to listen to a speech. And you're in the nosebleeds of a theater. The nosebleeds for this are $280 with fees. It's $280. It's in the nosebleeds to listen to Triple H induct himself into the Hall of Fame for about a good hour and a half. Now, here's the best part. I just found this out about roughly 30 minutes ago. Do you know how much the lower level seats are for this? So if you want to be on the floor where you're basically like 4 rows away from Triple H as he's giving his speech, you want to know how much those tickets are? I'll give you a couple of guesses here.
Well, we had $1,000 here, so I'll just go there. Let's try that. I mean, Bob, I'm doing 1,000.
Okay, you would have to go higher than that.
Jacob,
I am not kidding. You would have to go higher than that. And actually, by bidding 1,000, you're not close.
$2,500? Is that over?
Okay, well, this is a little bit too over. The total cost for one floor ticket, if you want to go see Triple H in the Hall of Fame for a speech, $1,600 per ticket.
Why? What do you possibly? All right. I'm cut up, right? I poop in a bag. I got all this. How does one welfare check cover that? That's your whole welfare check, right? What the fuck? How does this do?
$1,600.
What do they do for work, Jacob? To be able to throw $1,600 to sit down and listen to a has-been with a head with a ponytail telling all about himself.
This is where you have to keep it in perspective here, because let's say you're a psychopath and you want to spend $1,600 just to watch Triple H give his speech for the Hall of Fame. Okay, that's one event that WWE is hosting in the course of these few days. Now imagine you're a complete and utter sociopath with no other feelings and hobbies outside of WWE. You're traveling to Las Vegas, which is flight, which is hotel, which is food, all that stuff. It's not cheap, especially if you're staying on the strip. Then you're showing up for SmackDown, which is on Friday, and then immediately after SmackDown at the T-Mobile, you have to go immediately to this location, which is 4 miles away in the strip. Good luck doing that, 8 p.m. on a Friday night. And then you have to go to that event, so that's 2 events. Then you have to do WrestleMania Night 1. That's 3 events. Then you got WrestleMania Night 2. You have an NXT event squeezed somewhere between there. Then you have Raw after that. So that's about 6 events. And I guarantee you the $1,600 that you spent to go watch this speech is probably the cheapest deal you're going to get, considering all the other options for this weekend that you're going to be spending an absurd amount of money on. We talked about this, and this is not even like a joke. We mentioned this a few weeks back when they started releasing ticket prices for WrestleMania and like those events. The lower bowl, if you want to sit like somewhere on floor level seats for WrestleMania, it doesn't matter which night, it could be night 1 or night 2, are going for as much as 18 grand for a wrestling show that's not real. It's not real fights. But you can spend as much as 18 grand just for that. You want a nosebleed seat? You want somewhere in the nosebleeds for this event? You're probably going to be shelling out at least $2,000 with fees. Now imagine doing that, and on top of all that, you're spending $1,600 to listen to a Triple H speech. The guy who's running his company, who's literally inducting himself into the Hall of Fame. Imagine doing that. Imagine being that guy.
So
the moral of this story
I'm
is
sorry,
that...
wait, hold on. Jacob, we're going too fast here. $18,000.
$18,000.
I understand that right, for a VIP booth.
No, that's just you
right?
sitting. That's not even like, oh, I get all these things, and I'm gonna get like an autograph. That's just you sitting on the 4th row for the show that's in a football stadium. If you want some perks, you're gonna be shelling out even more than that.
You have to take a mortgage out in order just to see what's happening.
It makes no sense, right? It fundamentally makes 0 sense why people would do such things. But people.
So is Netflix getting a cut of this? Is that why the ticket prices are this, and they got to make their money back for dumping $6 billion into this? Is that what's going on?
No, Netflix this is all WWE. So here's what happened last year. No, it was actually 2 years ago now. So it was almost 2 years. What's the name? Endeavor, William Morris Endeavor, WME. They bought WWE, and they merged WWE and the UFC into one parent company that's currently being called TKO. Now they also have like bull riding, and they're trying to do boxing as well, but all of those brands are under the TKO label. As a result of this, the UFC, which is known for basically skyrocketing and jacking up their ticket prices, have done the same ticket pricing model for the WWE. Now, with the UFC, you can at least make the argument that you're watching real fights, like you're actually watching real, like MMA, people punching each other in the face so people are knocked out type of fights. So you can kind of justify it, even though you're still kind of highway robbery. Like the latest, the next UFC pay-per-view, if you want a nosebleed seat for the one that they're doing in Miami, you're going to be shelling out at least $450 to sit in the nosebleeds. If you want anything on the lower bowl, you're going to have to shell out at least $2 grand. And you're not getting out in the nosebleeds for less than $2 grand. That's how much that it is now, right? So the WWE is now adopting that ticket model. So now you go to these WWE shows, it's extravagant amounts of money that you have to pay to go to these shows now. It's like you're not really seeing a whole lot of families at these shows anymore, because it's like if you got a family of 4, you want to go see a WWE show, you're shelling out $1,200 just to sit your butt down for a couple of hours and watch a subpar show. Geez. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this one right here for WrestleMania for Saturday nights. This is just the first night of WrestleMania. This is not a package deal. This is not like, oh, you get special perks. There's tickets on here that are going for as high, and I'm not making this up because I'm looking at it right now, as 20 grand just for one of the 2 nights.
I don't understand. I don't.
You can't justify it. Like even if the show was actually good, you still couldn't justify it.
So Richard did mention here a little bit ago that these were hold on. There it is. So it's a 65,000 person venue, and apparently these prices are correct for what this place is. So
No.
Vegas already jacks your stuff up, right?
No,
Just 'cause
they're
it's
literally
Vegas.
they're literally charging more than the Raiders were charged if the Raiders were playing a legitimate football game in the same venue.
Wow.
Yeah. You would not be spending this much money if you were watching the Raiders play the Chiefs at that same stadium.
But it's the Raiders, though.
Do you hold on now? Let's for comparison. Do you spend that much money to go see a UFC fight?
Depends on which fight it is. Like I said, the ones for like recently, if you want to be on the floor for a UFC fight, you're probably going to spend about $1,800, right? But MMA fans, I mean, those aren't like family events or stuff like that. Those are people who have money who want to show off. It's a completely different fan base. So the metric kind of makes sense, even though, like I said, you and me would probably never spend that much on a UFC fight. With
I don't think
WWE,
I'd
the
spend that much
dynamic
on a car.
yeah, right. The WWE, the dynamic is entirely different because, like I said, at least supposedly they want to be a family brand, family business, but at the same time, I mean, who's shelling? Who has the ability to shell out for that kind of money for WWE tickets? I mean, like I said, if you want to see, I'm pretty sure there's maybe like a combo deal for like both nights that you can go to if you wanted to do something like that. But I mean, you're still talking about upwards of 20 grand for one seat for both nights. And for it's good that you mentioned that too. Somebody mentioned the seating capacity for this. So WWE is actually struggling to sell tickets to the show right now. I wonder why. Both shows, keep in mind, they're doing it's 2 nights, so they're a football stadium for 2 nights. The capacity for Allegiant Stadium is 65,000, even though you can stretch it up to about 72 for like a big event. Like if you were doing like, you know, a basketball game, Super Bowl, something along those lines, you can stretch it out. Right now, they've only sold about 45,000 for both nights, right? And yet, then keep this in mind, those aren't all locals. Those are people who are coming from other countries, other parts of the U.S. just to watch this. So if you adjust that, you're probably only looking at about 30% who are actually local and other people are coming in. So it's not selling that great. And because of that, that's probably a big reason why we talked about this a couple weeks ago too. John Cena, who's a Hollywood actor, but this is supposed to be his last year in the WWE, recently turned heel because they did that to draw media attention and interest to a show that he's supposed to be main eventing, hoping that, you know, hey, you guys want to pay money to go see bad guy Cena? Guess what? The tickets are about 30 grand. So hopefully you guys like what you see. So they're basically doing it to shell up, you know, ticket interest because, like I said, they need the money. I don't know what else to tell you. They need the cash.
Painfully so.
Well, at some point they got to realize. At some point they got to realize that they're going to be at empty stadiums because or empty arenas because people can't afford these tickets.
Well, here's the thing. So I haven't gotten an update on what the sales figures is now. They did stall out 2 weeks ago. That was before Cena turned heel and everyone was talking about Cena's heel turn. So tickets did kind of stall out 2 months before Mania. This is their biggest show of the year, which is not a good thing. So I don't know if Cena's heel turn had any direct impact in people actually buying tickets for this event. But they are reaching a point here where it's like, if this is going to be the norm moving forward here, these are the prices that you're going to be taking. Because it's not just this show. People have been complaining for about a good solid 6 to 8 months that, man, WWE is charging an extreme amount of money for their events now. It's like ticket prices have like tripled in like the last couple of years alone. That goes directly back from the sale. At some point, you're going to run out of other people's money. And even if your show is so-called good, again, how many people are going to be willing to spend 20 grand to watch one show? A show that's for one ticket for one. So if you want to bring your daughters or your sons or your wife, whatever the case may be, it's like a family of 5. That's 100 grand. That's absurd. For like, people wouldn't spend that kind of money on the Super Bowl if the Super Bowl was being held in that same arena. So at some point, you got to be like, you may be pricing yourself out of competition at that point where, you know, what's going to hit first? Are you guys going to balk, essentially cut some of these prices down so you can sell more tickets, or are you just going to go full steam ahead and burn whatever audience you can possibly go out there? Because what kind of market is going to put this kind of money out there for these events? I just don't see it happening long term. I mean, like I said, 10 grand for WrestleMania, $225 to $1,600 for a speech. Like, you guys are starting to reach absurd territory now.
Well, it's pretty ridiculous to think about this on a scale that you're if you take a look at it like the Olympics, right, where it's some big thing, it only happens
Yeah.
over every so many years, that sort of thing. WrestleMania is every year, and it's not really. It's like
Yeah.
Christmas. It's kind of one of those things. It's a holiday. Some people like Toyotathon, I'm sure, and Rocktober, but what we're kind of facing here is that it's an institution that's long lost the luster it thinks it has, and so it's still acting like that rich kid when it's not the rich kid anymore.
Yeah. And like I said, people are like I said, it's kind of the talk at the moment that people are seeing the prices to this event that was just announced this week. So they just found a venue for it, and like I said, I think that'll probably end up being a bigger story down the line, especially if they don't sell as well with WrestleMania as they could have because of these prices. But just generally going forward, it's like guys are not going to start spending racks on a show that's, let's be honest, it's not real. It's not real. That's a slang
Quarters?
term for money. That's a slang
Oh,
term for money.
okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Sorry.
So
Yeah,
when you say
exactly.
rack, I think of like deer. Like what? You,
Oh, okay.
you buy tickets with deer heads now? Deer antlers? Neat.
See, when I
That's
was
new.
thinking racks, I was thinking of something entirely inappropriate, but I'm glad you went that route rather
On
than
the
what I thought you
topic of inappropriate racks, we do have information from Ubisoft, at least coming out from their
Sweet.
investors. So apparently they were keeping a deal. The Gilmans and Tencent were keeping a deal that Microsoft and EA were in talks to buy Ubisoft.
There's no way Microsoft is going to buy it after the antitrust stuff. There's no way. EA, maybe, but Microsoft, no way. That's not going to happen.
So again, the European market might be different. I don't know. But what's going on with this is that they were keeping that a secret from the investors. The investors found out. Now they're planning a protest. This is AJ Investments. These are the guys that raised the original problem earlier last year. And so they're very mad. They want to issue. They're going to put together this protest. Apparently, they also kept a esports collaboration with Savvy Sports, a European esports investor, I think is how they are. Secret too. They were not talking about that. So now there's a legitimate effort to drag these people out. The investors are pissed because it's not shaping up good for Assassin's Creed Shadows. Uh, there's a metric that I caught and I just couldn't dig it up here before the show started here because I was playing Yasuke Simulator. Check it out. The what happened is that Assassin's Creed Simulator, Assassin's Creed Shadows only picked up about 600 copies in the last couple of weeks of pre-orders. It's only picked up about 600 excuse me, 600,000, my bad.
It's gonna be like
600,000.
600. Are you sure it's not 600,000?
Yeah, well, the reason why is because the next statistic was Monster
And they're
Hunter.
talking about
And Monster
global,
Hunter,
right?
yeah, this was through Amazon, and I just couldn't find it. So before the show started. So, but anyway, it isn't so hot. It isn't so hot for them right now, and so the investors are seeing that this flagship title, because I'll tell you, the Assassin's Creed Ezio character is standing out in front of their headquarters in France. All right, that they take Assassin's Creed very seriously. So if this game doesn't perform magically, if it's not magically delicious, they're going to have a very big problem. And because they've really done their best to try and promote this globally. Again, their best, not what should have been done, not the best, their best. Big difference.
Trying to hide
And
the One Piece like they did with the Ubisoft Brazil was probably not the best idea.
Well, and we're going to find out what happens here at the end of this month because Goldman Sachs and hold on, I know I have the other one right here. Just don't remember which. Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan are doing a full review, financial review and strategic review of what Ubisoft's plans are going forward. And that'll be available at the end of the month here. And that's where AJ Investment says that if that doesn't come back explaining why all this mismanagement happened, they're going to go ahead with the protest. So we'll have to wait and find out. But for now, it looks like we're going to end up losing Ubisoft in a big way, which again, not a lot of people are concerned about. But I personally think this is all Tencent doing this on purpose. They want to gain control part of these IPs, and they're willing to run. They got the money to run Ubisoft into the ground. So, and I think the Guillemets are just so full of themselves that they won't. Yves will not turn the ship around. He's just too. I am God, French God, and you will not tell me that I do not have the very best ideas ever. And that's. Yeah, well, EA is kind of infamous now for that loot crate stuff they were doing for a while there, and apparently the European Union has taken them to court over it, along with Ubisoft and Microsoft and a couple of other game developers I can't think of at the moment. Tencent in particular, that's right, because of Genshin. So they sued them for dark tactics, is what the European Union Trade Union brought them up on. But whoops. But yeah, that's where we're at. I think Assassin's Creed is done. I think that franchise is run its course. They talked about how the Animus doesn't behave the way that it used to and has anomalies in it and things like that in it now, and that allow for all this jumping into people who didn't have descendants and things like that. So, and how you could just do things that break history and it doesn't matter. So
yeah.
It's over. I liked it. I made it to number 3, but that was the end of it for me. I just didn't like 4. So
it's like, guys, it's over. It's never been more over than it is right now.
Yeah, I don't think you can bring back Assassin's Creed. It's drifted so far out of the zeitgeist, and now it's become a complete clown show.
The last one I remember playing was like Revelations. I can't even tell you what year that game came out. It just feels like it was forever ago. I was like, oh, okay, I was kind of getting into this a little bit, at least with the multiplayer action. And now I'm just like, dude, I don't even know if it's even worth getting back into it anymore because I've heard so much negative stuff about it.
It's hard to say, really, but I just don't think it'll come back. The franchise itself was always sort of up and down. See, the story depended on Desmond, the main character, and if you take him out of it, kind of the gripping part of Assassin's Creed is gone. The neat premise of being able to jump back into history and take control of historical individuals, not necessarily historical figures, but people of that time period, I guess. Jump into an assassin of that time that you're related to by blood was a cool concept. But without Desmond being part of it, you don't really have a vehicle to go exploring that plot too much deeper because it's just random Matrix people then. It's like trying to tell a Matrix without Neo. You don't really have
Give
you don't
him
really
time.
have a vehicle.
That may be Warner Brothers' next pick in the next 2
I can
years.
see that.
Well, it's not so much that without Neo, it's that it just doesn't have a central character to follow. Is what I'm trying to get at.
We're gonna make a black woman the one.
Well, that's just it. Is that it'd be like having the Matrix without that central character. It's just telling you these random series of events inside of this movie. It's not like the Animatrix where it tries to explain the universe to you. It's just this. It's right now. You are just an individual who is opposing Templar, and that's it. That's kind of the end run of your reasoning for hopping in the Animus to go kick some ass in the past. Yeah. And I think it's over. You can't really bring it back from stripping out everything that made it correct. And to begin with, Desmond wasn't as important to the story as he was a vehicle for the story. That's the thing, is that the plot didn't hinge on Desmond, it hinged on the function of Desmond in the story. And that's why rebooting it and bringing Desmond back isn't going to fix this. Because again, nobody really remembers Desmond. They remember Ezio. That's why they have a statue of Ezio out front of the France headquarters, as opposed to a statue of fuckface. I already forgot his name.
No, just call him that. That was better.
Yeah, that guy.
Better than his real name anyway.
Yeah, so there you go. And that's what it is that Assassin's Creed is kind of just over. They lost it. Yeah, and Richards, it's he's played Valhalla for 500 hours. It's just kind of done with it. It's Connor. Like I said, Connor was the last protagonist that was good, in my opinion. And that was number 3. That was the one about the American Revolution, and I thought he was fun. He was snippety and he had an attitude, but he was still committed to the cause, and he got along with the founders as best as he could. And I thought that was a really interesting plot point for him. I didn't feel like I was being preached at about the influence of white people on Native American culture. It's just kind of how things went as far as what they depicted, in my opinion. I could be wrong. But we also hear a lot of good things about Black Flag. Black Flag is the one of the pirate ship. They put a lot of effort into creating gameplay and game mechanics that involved you operating a sea galleon. So I think that was one of the things that was really revolutionary about that, was that they really went out of their way to create one of the first games that was like AAA ship battles, I want to say. So,
I mean, like I said, it did feel like for a while there was, I don't know, they would try, because I mean, at the time, you're dealing at its height, you're dealing with a bunch of like Call of Duty clones at that time period, right? So it looked like they had a market to try to be to try to distance themselves, try to branch out, be something different than what everyone else was producing at the time. And I don't know what happened to that momentum. It just kind of evaporated.
yeah, because again, you've gotten away from the plot. You know, they got away from the function of Desmond is to give you, the player, a vehicle into the fight. Why you're getting into the Animus, why it matters to chase the pieces of Eden, why fighting the Templar even matters to you, and why the rest of the world gave up on that fight. You know, and it's tough to do that when you have a cast of characters that don't stick, you know. When you're trying to tell a story like that, we talk about Power Rangers all the time here. Spencer and I are big fans of it, that kind of thing. They have the villains change, so that's fine. If you're going to keep it's like swapping out Megatron for another villain. It was weird. It was kind of quirky. It was fun to have Megatron as an Autobot for a while, but ultimately, it just kind of
it just doesn't work.
Right, you've got to return it back to Optimus and Megatron trying to murder each other for millions of years, and that's just how it goes.
It's like getting rid of Cobra Commander from G.I. Joe as a villain. It just it wouldn't work.
There's no energy there, and so when you take out the function of Desmond in Assassin's Creed, you lose the reason to play the game. It's just, let's go screw around in the past. You might as well just make a game about being an asshole in the past, then just cut out the whole future part, you know?
So Iron Man 1.
Even Beast Wars had to make the protagonists new versions of Optimus and Megatron. Yeah, exactly. They weren't even their own individual people. Nope, Jacob died. Ladies and gentlemen, a nuke just hit Georgia. You saw it. Oh, back from the nuclear apocalypse, Jacob.
Yeah, that was a Google issue. That had nothing to do with me whatsoever. Google just said this page dead now.
Yeah. Come back later.
Yeah, right.
But I do want to talk about this. This is a new game that's come out recently. Its name is Repo, and I would like to play this at some point, but it is a cooperative game, and you play adorable little robot guys that go around a haunted space, haunted environment, and you encounter horrible enemies, but it's funny. So
Gun.
Look, they get little tiny.
Aww.
Wait.
Hold on, I'm getting a call.
Oh my god.
He lived. Wait.
Even he's like surprised, like he's still alive.
Look at their little eyes. Watch, they're so expressive.
He's like,
stupid little robot.
He's like, wait, I'm still alive.
Holy shit! Look at the little guy over here on the left. Right, look at this guy over here. Watch him.
It's like they're both shocked.
And he's dead. See, he's gone.
Yeah, he did not survive.
So this game, it goes like that. It's whoops, I hit the wrong button. I'm still hitting the wrong buttons. All right. Sorry.
It looks like
Repo
fun.
Repo is pretty funny, and I really enjoy the game. I think it's clever. It's a nice twist on the whole Fatal Company one, where you go out and you have to bring stuff back and you get money for it and whatever. You can die horribly to monsters. It's a nice twist on it. The robots are adorable. One of my favorite parts is that their heads like lift up like the trash cans when they talk. So it has in-game chat, proximity chat. So your heads flop up and down when you talk. And when someone else is talking, the little eyeballs will move around to follow that person. So it's whenever you say something sus or whatever, the little robot eyes just automatically move over to you, and they're like wide, and it's great. It's such a like a Kino game. It's such a Kino game, and I really want to play it. So if you guys are out there and you're interested in maybe recording something for fun here, I'm down for it. I think it's a really fun game. I think it's clever, and it looks like it's going to be one of those ones that just shows up and takes Game of the Year because it's just
There's
fun.
been a lot of that lately.
Yeah,
something that I've noticed, and I really do appreciate it. And I think it's been something that people kind of have been predicting for a while now, is that AA games are kind of taking over. I mean, like, look at the Monster Hunter aside, but like the top rated games on Metacritic are Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Monster Hunter Wild, and Split Fiction. And I mean, Split Fiction sold what, like 2 million copies in 2 days?
Yeah.
It's insane. And Split Fiction's marketing is really genius, where you get a guest pass for free. I think it's on Steam mainly where that's happening, if I remember correctly.
Some people know how to market, and some people don't.
Oh, you could put him in the toilet. I didn't know that.
Oh my god, I could put him in the toilet. But the other thing I do really like is that there are a lot more co-op games coming out, because that's something that hasn't happened in a long time. I remember the last time where there were a lot more co-op games coming out were like the late 2000s, early 2010s.
Yes. Yeah, I think that co-op is going to take over because, solo play's fun and all, but like in the male loneliness epidemic that we're dealing with right now, and men being the primary consumers of games, I really think we're going to see more co-op, and we should.
I'm talking about, like, we're talking outside of online multiplayer, of course.
But yeah, I was gonna say, you're missing a bigger picture here too. It's like, this game looks like it'll be a gold mine for like YouTubers content, right? Like this is like something that people will stretch like years of content out of, especially if you can get like co-op players and stuff like that. You can get a bunch of people together, and like I said, this would be a content gold mine, and it's something that compared to all the other video games out there that shell out 9-figure budgets just to flop hard, like the Hindenburg. This one actually looks like it has the potential to be a lot greater. I love when games like this break out, because it just shows you how simple it should be for everyone else, and for some reason it's like they don't get that, even though as much as we tell them, they still don't get it.
Yeah, they want to Assassin's Creed Shadows something, and then you have this game that comes along, and it's like, what if trash can robots were having a tough time fighting evil monsters for useless crap? And
it's like a video game that was made by a budget of like $30 and a Carl's Jr. coupon, and it's gonna be like the biggest hit of the entire year.
Yeah, and it really is. It's just like non-stop ridiculous content, because they set the parameters to the point where anything they put in the game will make sense. They don't have to. If Elvis walked up and he's got a Tommy gun and he's going to gun you down, well, that's perfectly fine for Repo. That we expect that now.
It kind of gives like it kind of reminds me of is like a Plants vs Zombies, but with robots.
Yep, there's a bit of that, and like my favorite part is one of my favorite YouTube groups is the Vanoss crew, and they are having a blast with this. Nogla and Terrorizer have decided to make their own little animated intros for everything using the character models from the game ripped out. And today, Nogla released a video of Terrorizer. Nogla released a video of Terrorizer pretending to be him and singing a song about Nogla's crazy ex-Mexican girlfriend while he's the little robot with the floppity up and down head. It's so good. I'll see if I think I have it here in my my favorites. This game is just it has that endless content feel to it where I don't know, you don't have to play the game in order to have fun in the game. You can just screw around with your friends and it'll still be a good time. Yeah, here's that one from Nova's intro today. This is
I love you, Mexican lady. I'm gonna bring you to Disneyland and make you crazy.
I'm not. Aaliyah's not Mexican.
No, I'm talking about back in the day when you dated Mexicans and they're all crazy and you play guitar.
All right.
Show you that I'm a real big man. As I go around with Mickey Mouse ears, then you realize I'm a massive. And then.
How's it going to keep rhyming? There's the slur.
Oh, there's gonna be so many memes from this game. This is gonna be like Five Nights at Freddy's like level of memeage coming out of this game.
yeah. The memetics are very high. That's true.
Somebody are like, yeah, take that, Among Us.
Yeah, I do. I think this is gonna unseat Among Us. I think this is gonna unseat Among Us because even when you're dead. When you're dead and you're in a little chat, you got little floppity icon heads. So you could talk to each other and you look like Canadians from South Park.
Oh my God,
the thing is that whoever's talking, the eyeballs move to that person. So if someone's above you is talking and someone below you is talking, your eyeballs will move to follow that. And it's so, everything is alive in this game. I love it. Everything, they thought it through.
There's going to be a South Park episode on this game. Watch. I could see it.
But even if there isn't, it's still going to produce enough like animated content of people making fun of it and all that stuff that it is going to become its own little cartoon. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if there wasn't like a little webtoon series about this. So if you're looking for a new game to play with your friends, it's $9.99 to get into the game. It doesn't have any DLC expansion packs right now. They're still adding stuff to the game. A new enemy just showed up the other day. It's a really crazy monster that you know, as a little kid, you'd think like the little clump of hair in the shower was a spider with like a billion arms. So they made that monster, and that just goes around and destroys everything you've collected. So there's no stopping it. Once you encounter it, it destroys everything. It's over with. You got to go back over to the beginning.
No,
so yeah, it's
ruined.
Yeah, right in repo. But so I highly recommend it, and that's kind of like the end of my offerings this evening. I put my effort into figuring out how to get that stream started, and it worked for a little while. And yeah, I streamed Yasuke Simulator, a 7-minute demo.
I saw that
for an hour.
1 hour of work, 7 minutes of content. Cha-ching.
It's literally just a 7-minute. A demo. You can play through it in 7 minutes, and I managed to still not beat the demo and managed to take an hour playing it. Yeah, if you're looking for like ace gameplay, award-winning gameplay, it is not going to be with Old Cider, that's for sure. But if you want to watch some fella struggle with a PS2 level game jumping between boxes, this is the place.
But there was one other thing. I blanked out. I pulled the Spencer. Damn it! I had something good there, and I blanked out. I was going to segue to the last segment of our show, then I screwed everything up. So now I have to commit Soka.
Well, I don't have a last segment. Do you have a last segment?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I had it in my mind for a second, and I lost it. Now I'm desperately trying to stall to try to figure out what it was, and now I can't think of it now. Gosh, is this what he goes through like every day of his life? This sucks.
Every day. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, sorry guys.
Hamburger hum, hamburger, hamburger, hamburger hum, hamburger, hamburger, hamburger hum, hamburger, hamburger hum.
What?
Hamburger, cheeseburger, Whopper, Big Mac.
Did that help?
Big Mac, Whopper.
Did that help? Did that bring you back?
Now all I'm thinking of is like last night's roast where they were just like shitting on Ethan for like 40 minutes.
Yep. That's, by the way, we would also like to start doing that too. So if you guys just want to sit here and hang out with us as we watch car accident videos where nobody dies, we're told
at least that we
nobody
can
dies.
verify.
Yeah, right. We'll be doing that
God.
here as well, pretty frequently. What's really the big thing is that YouTube wants to compete with Twitch, and so they want to see you streaming more, and that way you get more into
They
the
just want
channel, I guess. I
that
don't know.
I show speed money. That's all they want. They
Yeah, that's
realize
what.
that we're losing all that money to Amazon. It's like, how do we get into this whole thing? It's like, oh, I got something. This is gonna be brilliant. And it wasn't brilliant.
It's really not as crazy as it sounds, Timon. Watching car accident videos, it isn't about like watching people get hurt. It's just about the insanity of what has taken place on the road. If you go watch those dash cam videos, it's not about, oh man, it's hilarious that this family of 4 just had their heads cleaned off. It's not that kind of video. It's idiots that'll rear end someone at a red light because they're texting. And it's not even like a hard red light where people are dying, like they rear end them really hard and they die. It's just one of those stupid bump, and then they get out and fist fight each other in the middle of the highway. It's that kind of stuff. So
You know, it would be better if they do those videos and then like instead of like showing like the crashes and like stuff like that, you just like put like the sound effect of like what's it, a squeaky toy every time something collides.
right.
Oh,
That'll
I
fix
remember
it.
now. I remember what it was. We didn't go over the Neil Druckmann situation.
I don't know if we have time for that. We got 15 minutes here before the 11 o'clock hour. And why isn't Spencer here? Did I miss a message about him not being able to make it?
Yes, that was literally the message he sent like before we started the show.
Okay, sorry. My apologies. I'm not mad. I was just like, you've been in the chat the whole time. Did I say something? Do I smell funny? So,
it was that long, like drawn out like essay that he wrote everyone explaining why he wasn't going to be here tonight.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
There's one other thing too. I just remembered is Death Stranding 2. That was the other big thing that came out this week.
Yep. That is another one that Kojima has finally finished that, and that'll be released. Apparently, we're going to get a cutesy cadoodles attempt at Solid Snake. Apparently, this actor that plays the guy that looks like Solid Snake in this new Death Stranding 2 game, movie, whatever you want to call it.
It's a thing that happened.
Out too. Like, I do want to mention this real quick, is that people are flipping out saying that Deborah Wilson being in this makes the game automatically woke. It's like, no, she's been associated with Kojima for a long time. So it's like the design is questionable. Yeah, maybe self-insert, but no, Kojima has been associated with Deborah Wilson.
To be fair, at least from what I've seen, I haven't seen anyone complaining that it makes it woke. I think people are just sick and tired of looking at her face in their video games at this point. I think it's just more of a you can't hire anyone else other than her type of thing, more than it's like, oh, this is woke now because she's in it.
No, I've seen people say it's woke.
Okay.
Certain people say it's woke.
Okay. For my spear, it was just like, wow, like there's literally nobody else but Deborah Wilson. Yep.
I Death Stranding just got away from me. I like the movie, the 9-hour cutscene movie of it. I don't like the game. It's just those cutscenes with Daryl delivers in between it. I know there's people that feel very passionately about Death Stranding. I don't think the story's bad. I think it just would make a better movie. Probably a better Netflix original, which is probably what would have done that the most favors, probably. And I say that knowing that Netflix is screwy Louie, but I just Death Stranding doesn't feel like a video game. It just feels like a movie with quick time events in between it, you know? So
that's like
in between
everything else.
Yeah. And Kojima's kind of worked his way into that over the years. Progressively, the Metal Gear series worked its way more and more into being more performative than play. And it's not bad, you know. It's just one of those things where, like, if you're not in it for that whole packaged experience of having 9 hours worth of cutscenes, you know, it might not be fun. I assure you, there's probably even more because Kojima was showing off like this whole 10-minute thing of these people just standing in a hallway talking to each other. It was like, what is this? This isn't a video game anymore.
Okay, so there's one last thing we can talk about real quick, and then we can head out of here. Did you guys talk about the Daredevil situation
Nope.
here?
Oh no, yeah, this would be perfect for you to talk about.
Yeah, this would be perfect, and then we can wrap it up with this one. So Daredevil is essentially not doing well at all. I guess the viewership numbers from Daredevil have not been good. They're lower than I think the last couple of like Star Wars projects, which is also not good. So you got to keep this in proper perspective too. All of the news regarding this show wasn't positive because if you recall, we talked about this maybe like a year or two ago. I think it's almost been 2 years now. That's how long it's happened. This is supposed to be an 18 episode arc. I don't know if they're still planning on doing that to an extent, but that's how it was supposed to go at the time. And then as the course of things went on, they shot half of it, realized the creative direction was terrible, and then scrapped the entire thing. And then basically reshot it. It got to a point where they were like, hey, look, we need to essentially rebrand this to what people know from the Netflix series. So they tried to bring people back for the Netflix series, reshot the whole thing, but it still didn't like draw any viewers. I think the official numbers are right now that it drew like 7.5 million views in the first 5 days. But based off of that metric, it did worse than the Acolyte. It did worse than I think it was Ahsoka, which is the two of the Star Wars one. Apparently, this one even did worse than Agatha all along. So I'm trying to think to myself, what was the bigger disconnect of why this didn't work? Was it just the fact that, people had heard about the previous shoots and realized the quality wasn't good, they just wasn't interested? Or did Disney not market this enough to draw any interest for anyone moving forward with this show? Because you think that if this is the big return to form here, it should have been a lot more interest than it was. Or hey, who knows? Maybe they just screwed the pooch here with this MCU stuff.
Door number 3.
Like honestly, if you guys look at it from a big picture perspective here, in 2 months we're getting, what's this movie, the Thunderbolts? So the Thunderbolts movie is coming out in 2 months, and it's the official end to Phase 5 of the MCU. Do you remember all the Phase 5 films of the MCU? It was only 6 in total, but including this one, you had Ant-Man 3, which was supposed to be the complete new direction of this whole thing, and that fell apart immediately. So, because what's his face got himself into trouble, so they had to change course after everything they were going to set up. You had Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which basically came and went. I mean, not too many people talk about that. The Marvels, which I believe is now the biggest disaster the MCU has seen financially, outside of maybe Eternals, but this one was far, far worse. Deadpool Wolverine won some favor from people because it was basically a goodbye to the 20th Century Fox era of MCU films. And then we just had Brave New World, which came and went and no one cared about it, right? This entire arc of Phase 5, which was supposed to keep this thing going, has just been absolute dog tier. Like, then the Disney Plus shows haven't helped anything. Secret Invasion was a flop. Loki came and went. Echo Mania, I mean, we were the only ones that were hyping that whole thing up. Agatha all along, the Spider-Man, and apparently the last one they're gonna do is Ironheart. So if you're expecting Ironheart to save this whole thing, like, it's over. It's done. So it feels like there's a multitude of reasons why people are just giving up on the Marvel brand, but you think that for people who at least had some kind of nostalgia on the Netflix series from 10 years ago would be at least interested to check this one out, but it didn't seem like it grabbed that audience at all. Maybe people didn't know that it was even coming out, or maybe they knew and they just didn't care. Either way, it's not good, especially for a franchise of the caliber of Marvel, but then again, here we are.
Well, and a lot of people's faith in it was kind of worn out with the Echo thing. I think a lot of people had a wildly different idea of what Echo was until they started advertising it, and then they were like, "Oh." Of course, the clips then went around about Kingpin being de-racist. I don't know what to call that. She just waved her fingers in front of him, and all of a sudden he wasn't racist anymore, and he needed his mommy.
He just ran back in his little limo and drove away like a little bitch.
Yep. So if you're imperiled by a large white man, just put your fingers over his eye like this, and he's
when
done.
When they bring Echo back and she confronts Kingpin, he's gonna have PTSD thanks to the Native American hocus pocus that he experienced in the last series.
Yeah, he can't go to a Thanksgiving celebration anymore. He can't watch a Macy's Day Parade anymore.
He can't watch the Cowboys and Redskins on a Thursday
Can't do
anymore.
it. Can't do it. He's the whole reason why the Redskins got in trouble about that Indian mascot. He called him up and said, "Can't do that anymore."
Everything reminds me of her.
Right. But in the bad way, right?
Yeah.
He's like wiping sweat off his forehead. Everything reminds me of her.
He watches like Florida State games. He's like, I don't even know if this is the same tribe, and it freaks me out regardless.
Oh, so I do have an update about Kevin Conroy for Devil May Cry anime. So Johnny Young Bosch and Adi Shankar both confirmed that they that Kevin Conroy recorded his lines before he passed away. So IGN was completely wrong about it being posthumous. It was before he died.
Yeah. And I want to make one quick correction real quick on top of that. I think it was Richard Swanu, whatever your name is. He has no idea what any of us are talking about. And I had to just remind myself right now in real time, we were literally the only people who watched Echo. So no one has any context of the joke that we just told for the last 2 minutes. Because we're the only ones who saw it. So, yeah, go back and watch Echo.
They're trying to bring back Echo 2 in Daredevil, right? I know they're trying to bring back. They're trying to make She-Hulk a thing in Daredevil as well. I'm like, why? Why are you trying to do that? Like, no one cares.
To own the chuds, nerdigans. They have to own the chuds. The chuds must be owned at any cost.
Of course.
All right, well, that's it. MCU is toast. It's screwed. They need Florence Pugh, Spencer's favorite actress in the whole wide world, to save them now because they got nothing else going into this dreadful Phase 5, even though it should have ended like 6 years ago. So.
Oh, and speaking of the MCU, before I forget, they're saying there's the rumor that Sally Sink is joining the MCU either as Jean Grey or Mary Jane.
I know she's from, was it Stranger Things? I don't watch that show, so.
Yeah, that was from the season nobody watched.
I have a hard time believing that they're going to cast a redheaded white woman to be Mary Jane in the MCU in 2025.
I know, that's why people are like, wait, they're actually going to cast an actual ginger for Mary Jane.
Nah. They'll probably cast Keke Palmer as Jean Grey. And then just move on with that.
Jean Grey, notorious girlfriend of Spider-Man.
Yes.
Na, 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 na. Forget I said that. So anyway, Ms. Nerdigans, where do we find you when the stream's over?
You can find me on Nerdigans Inc. on YouTube, where we cover anime and manga every day. On Patreon, patreon.com/PackerGirl, where we're doing our anime live reactions because I don't have to worry about getting a copyright strike, and I can have the anime and manga side by side for like a really good in-depth analysis, as well as have audio, so I could cover Dragon Ball Daima's now English dub because we finished up the sub, and you can find me on Twitter right here, where I'm covering a ton of shenanigans and causing shenanigans. For Bounding, I am working on the One Punch Man article, where we're gonna go over like how basically season 3 is going to probably be ass, unfortunately, because JC staff is very incompetent, as you saw here. I actually did a video on a full in-depth video on what's going on with JC staff based on what we saw on their website. And it is just so insane that they actually have this on their website. And I still got to finish up those Dragon Ball articles too. It's just been so freaking wild. And then Jacob, we're not doing Pokemon this week, right?
No, not this week. I had to push it back because my weekends become a little bit more full with some projects I'm working on.
And then there's also Anime Japan coming up. I am doing on my channel, I'm doing an ultimate guide, kind of similar to what I did for Jump Festa, because that got a lot of views. So stay tuned for that. And there's also actually a Digimon stream coming up for its anniversary. So if we want to attempt to do a stream for that here, that might be fun. But again, that risk. Toei is very, very it's very strict. So maybe like on Twitter or like a different platform, but here it's a difficult. But we'll have to talk to the higher ups and see what we're gonna do if we want to cover the Digimon stream. I think it's DigiFest that's coming up, but on the 18th, I believe it is.
Okay. Well, even if we don't cover it directly, we can always cover it just in screenshots too. So
that is true.
All right. And Jacob, when the stream's over, where do we find you?
You certainly won't find me spending $1,600 to sit there and listen to a speech from Triple H jerking himself off for 2 hours, like some marks are gonna do in a few weeks. So yeah, you definitely won't find me there, but you can find me on YouTube, Rumble, and X with Society Reviews. On Sunday nights, we do the Bible Lens. This Sunday, we're going to talk about whether the new president of Syria is the literal freaking Antichrist. So we'll talk about that on Sunday. Then on Tuesday, we got new episodes of The Ballroom. Go out and check out last night's episode. I feel like it's been a week already, but no, we did it just last night. We talked about LeBron James and the NBA. We talked about Lady Gaga. We talked about the Powerpuff Girls. If you haven't seen the trailer for that abomination yet, go check that one out too. It was a show that happened. It was one of the shows of all time last night. So go check it out over there. And then I should have a bunch of written reviews up in the next day. Like they're basically already written. I just have to actually like copy and paste what I already wrote to the site and get them uploaded. So whenever I can do that, we'll have a good time.
All right. And guys, as always, you can check us out on boundingintocomics.com. That's where you'll find Spencer when he's unable to be here on stream. He's pumping out articles. He put one out while we were here. Assassin's Creed Shadows Investor Debacle. You can read that article and let us be friends about it, share it around. And as always, come back here to the YouTube channel. Check out what we're talking about over here. We're going to be talking about that Assassin's Creed thing here tomorrow. Probably have a funny song to go with it too. So check out the first minute and a half of the video anyway. And probably going to keep streaming games. If not, we'll keep streaming this stuff here. Like I said, our accident videos, whatever you like. Let us know. And until next time, though,
I do like how the horn is like slowly getting louder, so we can't hear anything you're saying.
Yep. Okay. Well, it's over now. So, anyway, good
night, everybody.
Yeah. Good night. I don't have an outro video ready, so I'm sorry. I should have hit that before. So, yeah.
And now it's just gonna end all awkwardly, like mid conversation.
Yeah, it's probably gonna do that. Like, right about now.
With a smile on my face, badge still flashing, ain't leaving a trace. Every memo, every plan, every lie they devise, giving all of y'all a peek behind the corporate disguise. The bosses in the tower think they got control, but the higher they climb, the harder they roll. They sold you a dream, but the dream ain't fresh, just a rerun script for the broken press. Looks like the leaks